Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spar and Brawl. I hope you're having a decent day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Sam, and we're back with another episode of The Progressive World. So, as always, please like and also consider subscribing if you've been a regular viewer, and timestamps are down below. But okay, Sam, let's just give a quick overview of what we're excited to talk about. So, we have our chit chat part, of course, which will include again a few comments from our regular viewers. So, we'll get to that. Then we have a whole lot of Russia-Ukraine related things. Anything you want to mention specifically? Sam, anything juicy to tease
No,
about the Russia-Ukraine thing? Unfortunately, we
no,
don't have
just
any good... Go ahead.
everything is getting banned.
Yeah.
Everything, guys. Everybody's getting censored everywhere. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
And
have
I,
one
I have a
example.
feeling our show is going to get censored after. But anyway, go
I hope not. Yeah, I have one example of censorship that I find to be quite funny, and I didn't think it would like lead to that. But we don't have any of those fun racism clips like last time, which were amazing. But then Sam has some updates on Iran nuclear deal, so I'm actually pretty excited to hear what that's all about. South Korea has a new president. Sam will also mention that as well. Then Brianna had the funniest interview I've ever seen in my life with this girl, which first I was considered about making
which
fun of
led to
underage people, but apparently she's 22 and she insists that she's an adult, so it's all fine. So I've decided it's okay. I mean, that's what this whole
led to
podcast is about, that girl.
yeah, pretty much most led to one of the funniest readings I've ever done in years. One of the shortest and funniest.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
we
we'll
also,
discuss how the reading.
yeah. So people, you have to watch that segment. And we also went and got some tweets and comments, which show that, of course, it's not
Camille
just
did
our
more research on
interpretation.
this than I think you've done on your thesis. You were so happy. And it just happened like a day ago or something. And you've spent like 7 hours of research. I found that all the responses from all different schools of thought. Yeah.
No, but it was just a funny one. It just from the first second, I was like, "What is she even talking about, this girl?"
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Anyway,
I
we
gave
can
her, I
talk
think,
about
a
it.
good chance. Then we're gonna touch on the Hill censorship as well. This whole
No,
episode, we're gonna
seriously,
talk a lot
everybody's
about,
getting
yeah,
censored. You guys be careful about
censorship,
it.
and then a few other funny ones. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, we're gonna do some progressive tweets, which include some tweets from our favorites, and we're gonna move that up. So anyway, timestamps down below. So we're not leaving that for the end when we're like tired and dead, and I'm just
You're
like trying to get Sam to shut up so we can finish these tweets.
We're in hour 8, Sam. Come on, let it go. Let
Yeah,
this
you're right.
one
You're
go.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we'll get to it. To be honest, we'll get to. I have some personal stuff. Yeah.
But
Anyway,
all right, Sam, should we get started with the chit chat?
yes, let's do.
Okay, first thing that I want to mention is, I should have even said this in the opener, damn it, which is that we interviewed Christian Parenti. So people, folks, I'm sure that a lot of you who would enjoy this interview, so make sure to go check it out. I mean, he's such a fun guy to talk to. I mean, I wish kind of we were in
Yeah,
person so we could interrupt him more without there being like, the whole Zoom delay when you interrupt someone, and then it's really annoying. I've come to realize that now that we're doing a few interviews, because with you it's fine, but I mean, with the guests, I don't want it to be like every 2 seconds. Huh? What did you say? Yeah.
I know what you mean. No, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was I think one of my favorite interviews we've
Yeah.
done so far. And yeah, it was the right balance of like intellectualism and fun.
Yeah.
And maybe because there was, and the article itself, man, doing
Yeah.
research for that interview, to reading that article, I love people who have such a dry humor, and his article is so funny. It's so funny, and then in person he also has that dry humor. So I really enjoyed it. Basically, I love it.
Yeah, I know it was really fun. And yeah, the whole story, I mean, we talked about the whole first privilege walk story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great story with the Sherber
The origin
Marcuse.
story of the origin story of the social justice warriors in
Yeah.
many ways. It was quite fun. And the father guy, man, I'm still like fascinated. I
Yeah.
keep Googling him and reading about him. The father of the
Yeah.
father-in-law of Marcus. It's getting quite. It's like a Turkish soap opera.
The part that like amazed me the most is like I don't even understand what that means. But Christian said that this guy in like his 20s or something, or like a bit later, became the first person to underwrite Russian bonds in the US. I don't even know what that means. It sounds impressive.
Sounds difficult, but it's a financial thing. I forget what it is, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, you know, bonds, government issues bonds.
Yeah, I get it, but like
that's as far as I
I get that too. But a private citizen in the US, under what's the world? But this was even before he became super rich, because then he goes to Venezuela.
That's how he got rich.
Or maybe
no. He was already super rich, man. He was financing the Spanish Civil War. So he was already.
But the guy didn't start off rich.
No, he didn't start off rich, but he was already rich by the time of like a Spanish Civil War. And I think,
well, no, during that time I don't think he bought them. He was facilitating, I think, the sale of fighter jets. I mean, there's no way he had that kind of money.
Sure. I think, but then, I mean, he must have had some business. Okay, I need to look into this guy again. But I assumed he had some kind of a big company, and he was sort of using his company to smuggle goods and that was my assumption. Because from what I remember,
this is how he made his money, Sam.
Roosevelt and stuff were against his stuff. Like they were doing this. Like Roosevelt was supporting the USSR, like without the knowledge of Congress or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that part I'm not sure, but I just now remembered how I think his first big thing was that he bought the rights of the Charlie Chaplin movie and he sold it to one of the Eastern European countries for like a lot of money. For like, but
that wasn't one of his first things. I don't think that was one of his first things. That was later on.
That sounds like one of the least impressive things he did. After that, he went on to single-handedly build Venezuela.
I was part of the group of people that, defeated Nazism. I financed the war against the war. What? No, he was.
And then he moved to Israel, made a theater.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he did all that, and then he went to Venezuela and he founded a steel company.
No, he went to Venezuela, before going to Israel.
Into Israel and creating it.
But the Russian underlying bond thing, that's the most interesting part.
Yeah,
I'm really curious how the private citizen does that in a foreign country. What does that even mean anyway?
Yeah, exactly. What is that? that's the big question.
What is that, and how can I do that?
Like you write under the bond?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Cryptocurrency. Can I get into this?
Let's get into bonds.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Sorry, I have to because of the situation here. I'm just gonna slide down to get my charger.
Please do. So should we move on to the comments, or do you have anything else about Parenti?
No. It just please watch that. It was pretty good, I think.
And I'll post some shorter clips because there's definitely some good stuff. So more will come. But we got a lot out of him too, like an hour and a half, and we even chit-chatted like 5 or 10 minutes before that.
Yeah.
We talked about one funny thing. Remember
that like crazy?
Remember the vasectomy thing? I wish we'd have actually done a segment on that.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, we need to discuss the whole. I mean, look, we've.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. Should we move on to two comments by viewers?
Oh yeah. I have to backtrack on a position I've taken last week.
Okay. So no, it wasn't last week. So we did that midweek edition of Progressive Tweets.
Oh, all right.
And in it, I brought up, I was like, I wasn't even judging people who go to Oprah or these things and sit in the audience. That wasn't even my thing. Like I said, since the 90s, I've always but my main thing was like, how'd you get on these shows? Like pre-internet day, like how did you get it and all that? So anyway, let me read these two comments and then I guess we can get into it. So Pickle the Pirate, regular viewer, he first wrote, my mother appeared on Oprah one time. From what I understand, the tickets are free. People go because they like the TV personality or they themselves want to be on TV. They are tourists. That's true. They're tourists and want to experience the glamour. And here you have to like click on read more, which I don't have it on the screenshot. But then he goes on to say that like it's kind of sad or something that his mom went. But I'm like, no, we all have our guilty pleasures. Forget about that. But then I also wrote, can you tell me how she came across to get a free ticket? He hasn't gotten back to me.
You're so interested in the mechanisms of where is the exact place you apply for. I feel like you want to go. It feels like you just want to go on one of these shows. That's how.
And Lover in Thunder wrote, I went on Queen Latifah's show. I forgot about her. Got the tickets through school. Got the tickets through school. So here's a nice piece of information. I read over that. She's way skinnier in real life. All these people are way skinnier in real life. Never been on a cruise though. And that references Sam saying that he hates people who go on like these shows or who go on cruises. And it seems like that resonated with most people.
With a lot of people, I think. I must say that I didn't know the tickets were for free. Now that I know the tickets are for free, I like to backtrack. If it's for free, and probably they feed you something, I assume. If there is free food involved, I'm all for it. Of course, you must attend if it's free, So in that sense, I changed my position completely. Cruises, though, I'm not changing anything. You pay for that shit. You voluntarily pay for that. I mean, unless somebody.
I mean, the only thing.
Grandmother gives you a free cruise ticket, whatever. But
my main problem with a cruise is like, why not just go to a resort hotel? And also, I'm kind of scared of like the ocean and stuff a bit, so I'm not like too keen in being in the middle of the ocean for absolutely no reason.
It feels very unhygienic.
Yeah, and I get that same impression too, although I've never been on one, 100%.
Yeah, me neither, yeah.
But one good point I've heard is that they say that apparently, of course, the cruise goes and stops in multiple locations. So, maybe you get to see some stuff, whereas if you were just sitting in your hotel resort,
I'm sure there's good ones, but I assume the good ones are so fucking expensive that, people like.
Yeah.
So,
but it does seem,
it feels like I like a yacht. Yeah. I really like a yacht, but it's just it's like a public swimming pool. It feels unhygienic, too many people around.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you go to a resort, you kind of do have that issue. Because
I don't like resorts
kids
either.
peeing in pools.
Oh, God. I must say, not a big fan of resorts either.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I get I'm bored too.
I'm not as negative on them. I mean, at least in a resort, you can find a bar or something and just go chillax.
Man, last thing on boats though, I mean, I don't know. I watched this reality show Below Deck, and which is like people like it's like one of those mini yachts, and like it's really expensive. You come for a day or two and you stay on it. So it's all about the crew working. And I've also seen I had like a family friend. They had like a small boat in a lake in Canada. It's so much work, man. Like a boat, like you have to non-stop take care of it, put things over it, clean it again. Because like if you don't attend to it for 2 days, it's like apparently it's done.
No, that's the thing. It's a sinkhole of money. And my dad for the last 15 years, I mean, even when we were in the same place, he's had this obsession with boats for the last 15 years, and he keeps going to different countries and just basically I think he plays a game with these boat dealers because he just goes, they show him the boat, they take him out, he rides the boat, but he doesn't buy it. Because it's just it's a sinkhole of money. Just the parking space costs huge amounts. And then it's because it's in water, it's constantly eroded, you have to constantly keep up. And every couple of years we have a discussion that I'm like, Dad, just rent a fucking boat. You don't need to buy.
And so much work, even when you're using one. So it's sailing. I mean, another family friend has a tiny sailboat. I've been on a few times. And you didn't tell me I'm coming here for work to 2 hours, and it's all commands and orders, and you have to follow them. If not, you'll all die in this little lake. Pull that, pull this, tie that note the other way. I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't like
the language. Port is left, wings are right. It just doesn't make it. I've done a bit, but it was.
Have you seen?
I hate it.
That episode of Friends where Joey gets a boat and Rachel knows how to sail. So she's like teaching
Oh yeah,
him
you're
for her
right.
dad,
You're
and
right.
he just wants to chill and drink a beer.
Yeah, it's like just on the
she's
dick.
and she's telling him to run around and all that stuff.
Right. I get that. It's
Oh
I
shit.
don't know. It's like a what happened?
Sorry, nothing. Before I forget, your Putin story. Did you include that? Is that going to come up in geopolitics?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's censoring everything.
Because we also got Karabmot, our Canadian viewer, to also he touched on that, on the Putin
Oh,
thing.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
he said he hadn't seen it, but like what the hell and stuff like that. But you shared an article, I think, with me about in Montreal. Anyway, we'll get to that. Sam, so our last item for chit chat, and boats weren't a part of that. I don't know how we got there, but our last official one is about Espinoza.
Yes.
A philosopher which I find everybody like talks highly of, and everybody usually likes him, and he's considered like this like genius among geniuses, kind of. I mean, that's the impression I get.
The prince of
The prince,
philosophy.
sure, you said that. And me, I came across him in one of my political philosophy classes during my undergraduate. And I mean, I remember it was the biggest, most complicated book. I mean, people always say Frankfurt School, their writing is complicated and all that. I remember Espinoza, even the teacher explaining, I never got what she's saying. And if I understood what the teacher was saying, I really wasn't impressed. I hope I don't sound like a douchebag. But out of all the other political philosophers, I found what he was saying the least interesting, or like not as interesting as people made it out to be. I can just think of 5 other big ones, nor ones that I found to be far more interesting. What is Rousseau, Hobbes? I found Thomas Hobbes to be more interesting. I found even John Locke.
Really?
Yeah, even John Locke to be more interesting than what Espinoza had to say.
No, I mean, Espinoza wrote in Latin, so I mean, you got it. Like, it's not exactly. I don't like he was writing in a different style and language.
Yeah, but in the same period-ish, right? I mean,
yeah, same period-ish as Locke, and but definitely Hume, Locke, they're much more fun for sure. First I like to just give like Espinoza, because he's the first one who really questioned, like it's something because we discussed this, and you were saying that you weren't so impressed. I was like, no, Espinoza is good because I like Schopenhauer, and Schopenhauer loves Espinoza, so I was like, no, he must be good. I was a bit taking a sort of a taking a stance without really, because I knew of Espinoza. But then I watched a couple of lectures and shit, and I think it really, for Iranian, like, by the way, like religious groups in Iran, usually a lot of people love Espinoza. Espinoza is hugely popular in Iran, just as Schopenhauer and Kierkegaard. But
yeah, that's interesting.
I think the reason why it doesn't seem so impressive to us is because we are coming much later, but secondly, because in Iranian thought there has never been a dualism that existed in Christian world or in the West European world. You know what I mean? Like the dualism, because his big thing, Spinoza's big contribution, is that he says the whole universe and us and everything is God. And there is no body-mind dualism that Descartes talks about, right? Like there is no separation between nature and God, right? So that's his big contribution. But if you come from Iranian sort of type of thinking, that is sort of like, that is the automatic mode of thinking. Like that is the, like, Iranian Shiism is physic, as they, what did one guy called it? Metaphysical monism. Like Iranian Shiism is metaphysically monistic. It's one. There is no, you can have different aspects, but there is no duality. So I think maybe that's why he seems so much, because I was like looking at some of his very brief writings and translation and shit. I was a bit like, I was not as I was having the same reaction you were having. I mean, I don't understand why Schopenhauer and everybody's like, oh my God, this guy is the best. Deleuze, everybody's like, yeah, he's the. I need to read more.
I don't really get, like, exactly like what that thing that you just said, that God is everywhere and like it's in everything. By the way, I had that idea too when I was a kid, so maybe I should
No, but
Maybe I
that's
should have written that book
written.
myself. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like during that time, maybe, you know, it was a bit different than what religion was saying. But again, he didn't write this in the 1400s. I think it was like 17, right pre-enlightenment or enlightenment period.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
even
right.
talking about religion in this way
No, he
wasn't
did get.
extremely ground. I mean, I know very little
No,
about him
no, it
anyway,
was,
so I
it was.
still.
He was like, I mean, he got. That's. I'm gonna get to his cancellation as well. It's so funny, man. Yeah, but I would say.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead. I
yeah,
said everything I had to say really about him since I don't know much more.
yeah. I mean, look, I would say there is a bit something that I suffer from sometimes. Not too much. I hope too much reverence for the old,
Mm.
especially in humanities. I think, like, people treat. You don't see, people using today. People doing research in physics using the contribution of original Greek because they were nonsense, because they were bullshit. And I find it's just as reading Espinoza. Yeah, I was just very briefly reading Espinoza. I haven't found much interesting in it, and it's kind of it started to remind me of Plato, which is like the most I like the
Which I found
probably
to
the
be
philosopher.
significantly more interesting, though.
Really? No,
Significantly,
Plato by
like
far is the least interesting
like
and most damaging philosopher in the
his
world, in my view.
stories about Socrates and, you know, that everything I found, or
Okay,
Republic, or, you
that
know,
part
the
is
cave
better,
and all
but
this. I found these to be significantly more
really?
interesting ideas than what
No,
Spinoza,
at least
based on
with
what I heard.
Spinoza, he has a concrete starting
Mm.
point. With fucking Plato, it's all nonsense about caves and like if you're blind but you can't see an elephant and you touch it. Oh
But he
fuck!
makes points out of it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that
I
I'm the
don't know.
biggest Plato fan and
He
everything. I
uses
just
the
want to say,
weirdest things to make the weird, like the most comments. You can make the point by the most like logical. I
yeah.
hate Plato,
But to his
but
defense, at least, so that was at least written what, 2,500 years ago, or just
yeah, yeah,
2,000 years ago at least.
2,500 at least. Or
Espinoza was
hey,
just a few days ago. I mean,
yeah,
19, 20
well, I
days.
would say he's more clear than Hegel for sure. I don't know if you've read Hegel,
Yeah, I know very little about
but
him. I also know him
he's
through Michael
still not very
Sukkar.
clear. Yeah, it's
I
still
mean,
not very clear.
I don't even care too much about the clarity because so many of them are like that. But even when someone explains their argument, then I still like Spinoza's. I'm like, okay,
It,
I just, yeah, there's just like there's a gap between the way he's seen and like how I see it. I
yeah, I
guess
know
like
what he was
that's
an
the only thing
extremely
really.
moral person though.
Mm.
Like I mean, that's partially the reason they call him the prince is that he always refused all the titles and all the prestigious like positions in the universities and all that, and he was excommunicated by the Jewish community for his thoughts, which is a good segue to my next segment.
Mm.
And he was pretty much condemned by all the churches of Europe, all the Christian churches as well. So, he got really, and this is, by the way, he published Ethics, I think, after he died. So like just from his before his
Nice.
Ethics, he got all that.
And
But let
one
me
more thing, one
no,
more
go ahead.
idea I remember hearing about him is that like he wrote about the mob or something, or like the fear of the mob or the mob coming after you. Did you come across anything like that or no?
Not yet, no
And
more.
that's
I mean, I don't know, but I assume he's probably somewhat suspicious of the people or the mob or the what great
yeah. And by
beast
mob
as
he meant like masses. I think like just like
yeah,
general
yeah.
population.
I would
But
imagine he's a conservative. So far, by the way, I found out he believed that like it is completely natural for men to rule over women, which was like, oh, Espinoza, how interesting. Yeah, it's just even like the guys you love from old times, the weirdest. That's the thing though, because it's old times. Like they were like, it's like 100 years from now. I'm sure we have a lot of idiotic ideas, right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Even right now
So
we have idiotic ideas. Don't have to wait 100
yeah,
years. Yeah.
for right now, like not even 400 years. But
Anything else
I
about Spinoza or the chit
yes,
chat
yes.
part?
So
Go ahead.
he was a Jew. He was from this Jewish community that were expelled from Portugal, and they lived in Amsterdam. And he got this. Apparently, there's this designation called cherem, which means that basically you're excommunicated from the community and stuff. And the note that the chief rabbi wrote at the time was particularly harsh. for Espinoza, and like, this guy, kick him out. Like, I don't want to see this guy ever again. Don't want to talk to him. Don't want to do anything with him. But then I was reading, this is from his Wikipedia, and I couldn't believe it. So then, because David Ben-Gurion and a couple of other Zionists, they said he was the first Zionist. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. But yeah, anyway, they were very big fans of his stuff. So there was a movement within like Zionism and Judaism, Jewish religion in a larger sense, to sort of have the cherem removed from him. Cherem, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Now listen to this. In September 2012, the Portuguese Israeli commune of Amsterdam asked the chief rabbi of their community, Hacham, which I guess is Chacham, Pinchas Toledano, to recognize to reconsider the cherem after consulting several Espinoza experts. However, he declined to remove it, citing Espinoza's, quote, preposterous ideas, where he was tearing apart the very fundamental of our religions. So this is like 300 years there. They're not letting this go. I love this rabbi. I love it. He is this fun, preposterous. What the fuck? In December 2015, 3 years later, wow, the present-day Amsterdam Jewish community organized a symposium to discuss lifting the cherem, inviting scholars from around the world to form an advisory committee at the meeting, including Stephen Nadler of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. A debate was held in front of over 500 people discussing, according to Nadler, what were Espinoza's philosophical views, what were the historical circumstances of the ban, what might be the advantages of lifting the cherem, and what might be the disadvantages. Most of the community would have liked to have seen the ban lifted, but the rabbi of the congregation ruled that it should hold on the basis that he had no greater wisdom than his predecessors, and that Espinoza's views had not become less problematic over time. Now, this just the end is just the cherry on top. Listen to this. In November 2021, just months ago, Espinoza scholar Gistek Melamed was denied entry into the synagogue of Portuguese Israeli community of Amsterdam and declared persona non grata by Rabbi Joseph Serfati after he requested permission to make a movie about the ban in the premises. Oh. He just wanted to make a movie about the ban. He did a person, get this, are you a Spinozian? Get him out. Get him out. I love how they've kept the grudge after like 300. Everyone, come on, let the cherem go. Let him, like, he's dead anyway. He wouldn't care. Like, yeah.
And these were different rabbis, right?
Yeah, but they respected their predecessor's decision, and good for the rabbis, by the way. I hate.
But yeah, did they have a point though? Did they have a point? Like, did the rabbi have a point? He's like,
their point is that
you come here teachings, for go against. And here we're
everything we
and this is a religious institution. This is not like I don't know, like university or something.
Genuinely kudos to those rabbis, because I assume they were under a lot of pressure by these shitty cafeteria religious people who are like, we want to have the religion, but we want to just cherry pick the nice part of it. Like, no man, if you're religious, you're really kudos to these guys. Keep up the good work. Don't remove the cherem from Espinoza. He deserves that cherem. I mean, I'm sure Espinoza would agree with them as well. He just, like, it's like his teachings he basically calls all religions superstition. So yeah.
So not bad. Maybe I like Spinoza a bit more.
But this was probably one of the early cases of cancel culture. I mean, the first case of cancel culture is Socrates, who gets canceled. But then,
But yeah, I mean, religious institution is the most clear-cut institution that you know what you're getting. When you go to a synagogue or a church or a mosque, you're not there to discuss physics. If you don't come.
Don't come.
Go set up your own thing.
Yeah, do your own goals. Yeah, go do your own. which is, by the way, in America, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
That's how America.
Why not? It's a free world.
Yeah, go ahead. No, but Judaism especially, they are very specific. Like God in Judaism, Old Testament, is highly specific about the fact that I am jealous. If you do that, I get fucking pissed off. So I don't understand all these debates. They moved it like God is nicer now. No, like fuck off. I love these guys.
But yeah, I mean, I would really like to understand from like some of these experts and stuff, what is the particular specific level of geniusness that they bring up about him compared to other quote unquote geniuses too, you know? I mean, you know.
Sadly, what's his name? Michael Segura didn't have a video on him.
And Espinoza.
No, it's so bad when you have somebody like that who can explain everything like that to you. And
for sure.
There wasn't.
And Michael Segura also gives his own take all the time, which is interesting.
No, but that's why it makes it understandable. Because if somebody just gives you because you have to give your own take, otherwise it's nonsense. I think so anyway, especially with text that old, I think. Anyway. But it was, you know what I found out though, maybe one of the reasons they really like Espinoza, which I had no idea about, was that he uses the same method as Descartes, which is somewhat empiricist, as in he uses the axiom, sort of like he uses geometrical sort of methodology, which like he uses a first sentence and then seconds and builds up. So maybe that's it. I no idea.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong. And I'm sure I am completely wrong. But everything I'm saying, I'm basing on a course 12 years ago.
I spent about a day researching this, so I'm pretty sure I'm 100%.
Not even. We talked about Spinoza, I think like 13 hours ago, 14 hours ago.
Oh, you're right.
So that was nice. You did a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I've done a good research within 12 hours.
I need to sleep, paragraphs.
But yeah,
Wikipedia.
My left eye is actually dry to the point that it's killing me, but yeah, whatever.
Okay, so let's keep this party moving. Are we done with the chit chat? Anything else?
Yeah, we are done with cancellation of Espinoza.
All right. Okay, so let's get the real party started. All right, Sam, let's start our first story with this just absolutely hilarious, as I mentioned, both video and article. So I'm referring to the latest video on Bad Faith. Bree interviewed Emma Camp, and it's this girl, that lady, as I mentioned, she's 22, and she says that, you know, she's an adult, and like people in university are adults.
She is an adult. Like, she says she's an adult. I don't know. It's not a claim she makes. Like, do you need to see the birth certificate?
Kind of. I want to know where she was before this, because she said, I came to college eager to debate. I found self-censorship instead. That's the title of her New York Times article. Oh. And just the fact that she has a New York Times article itself is interesting, which we'll get to.
By the way, I like to, this will be, you know, this theme of this episode is censorship and all that, from Espinoza to this. And and there is another theme though, like these fucking liberals outlets, are they just publishing anything now, or just the memoir, like my journal? Can I send my journal? Like I do journaling some
okay,
nights.
Save that for the process.
I bought a milk today, you know, like
save that for process of New York for discussing New York Times. But hold on, I want to do two things. Yeah. One is I'm gonna say what this girl is not actually talking about, so there's no confusion there. And then I'm gonna play a very short clip from the interview, because Bree straight up asks her in the beginning what it is that you want, and then I think we can just talk freely. What is your argument?
What do you want?
So what she's not talking about, based on what I understood, she's not talking about university, like, you know, stopping you from doing a protest, or university getting in the way of like a speaker coming, or university telling you no. She's talking about
or even a students protesting against the speaker, which used to happen a lot.
So I guess fair enough to her. She did write, I found self-censorship instead. So yeah, her whole issue is that she says people in her classes don't want to say sometimes what they want, because they're afraid of how others are going to react. So they might become, you know, be outcasted and all that, which is like, this is why I asked, where was she before this? Because the entire world is like this, you don't want, most people don't want to.
She went to a really radical high school where anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, she's just literally, all she's saying is that we'll read some extracts and then this hilarious like stats that she has. All she's saying is that people don't want to have uncomfortable conversations at time because they are, they don't want to hear back even what other people want to say at times, or they just don't want to.
She says,
backlash.
I guess to be
yeah, let's be as fair as we can. Let's be
as fair as possible to her. Her argument is that people are afraid to speak their mind because of the exclusion they feel from the community,
from their friends, from their
exclusion or reaction, not just exclusion. Exclusion from friends, family, classmates, teachers. So yeah,
I don't think anybody in the world would disagree with that.
No.
And although she does a really bad job to support it, because a lot of people wrote in the comment sections that this girl came to talk about self-censorship, and then all she does is self-censor herself and doesn't share examples because she doesn't want to put people in the spotlight. I'm like, buddy, that's over. You've written an article in the New York Times. We've moved past that. You have beef with a professor or something, put them right there. I mean, that's what academia is there. Write down with what teacher that you're saying this, or with who, or give anonymize their names.
She doesn't have consistency there. But have you played the video now?
No, let's play the video.
Start by telling us what you are arguing in this article, and then we'll get into some of the feedback.
So really what I'm trying to argue in this article is, yes, it is wonderful when universities have really good policies in favor of student free speech that protects student First Amendment rights. But when we don't have a culture that embraces free speech and good discourse, a lot of negative consequences follow. One of them is that students don't really learn, because when you are constantly afraid of being caught saying the wrong thing, what you are necessarily afraid of is thinking the wrong thing, right? And if you don't even let yourself consider lines of thought because you just might be convinced by them, that's ultimately detrimental to learning, which is what I, at the very least, hope college is there to do.
All right, now the video has been played. How should we go about this? Should we read a few tweets that people made, a few comments?
I think first I'd like to clarify that I think Joe Rogan and Bree and like these people who do these interviews are the nicest people on earth, because I would have probably tried to reach across the screen and attack somebody, not her, somebody. I don't know.
I mean, Bree with her own examples and her own take made it like 9 times more interesting.
Yeah, she was making it like she was trying to put the fairest, her examples were actually like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't believe her examples. Like
they weren't, I can read them right here.
Do you have the examples of Bree? Some of hers were pretty bad, but even those examples though, I don't like, okay, I think there is, I don't think this girl was necessarily wrong. Of course, there's such a thing as groupthink, and it's bad. And, people are general cowards. I don't even think, like my experience from university, it wasn't that people were cowards or were afraid to talk. It was they didn't have opinions. I was an asshole who always had opinions and was always wrong. And I always talked, and nobody, of course, some people thought I was an asshole, and they did like, this is real life. What do you expect? I don't.
And in fact, it's not even truly, like, from my experience going to university in Toronto, York University, my bachelor 12 years ago. I mean, during that time, there was a conservative prime minister, and there was the whole pushback against that. So maybe that's the context. And we're talking about Canada and one university and one person experience. But all the time I would hear like people saying unpopular things. I would say unpopular things. Others would say unpopular thing, especially, like in the first class of the semester, I would never talk, because in that class, people will come and just share their random opinions that have nothing to do with the class in the tutorials. And then they wouldn't come back for the second class anyway. So I would wait for those people to be filtered and then, start talking. So it doesn't even really add up my experience so much. And anyway.
No, I just don't I don't feel like this is a unique problem to now. I don't think this is worse now than it was. In fact, I would argue probably before 90s, it may have been worse. But like you should talk about the fact that New York Times or something, if for Phil Donahue is, I don't know, fired because he doesn't support the Iraq war, or somebody is fired because they don't support the Russia Gate or something. That's real, like, cancel culture and real, like, bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that people don't talk, you're not popular, I'm sorry, but that's not an issue. That's not a people self-censoring. That's a choice they're making. You might want to write a sort of a polemic about how people should be more brave and talk their mind, but it's not a problem of society. If people like, what do you want us to do? what should we do? That's like, well, a teacher should be like, guys, don't be afraid. If you want to say racist thing, go ahead, come on, do it. Like, what do you want the teachers to do? I don't understand. And because she doesn't give any specific details about
I'm just trying to find one of her examples. I'm just why didn't I? The one about people
again,
whispering.
by the way, I mean, I just feel like it's such a, get over yourself. Like, it's my personal experience.
But she really takes it far in that first introduction that she says, and this will get in the way of students learning and all that. And like, get out of here.
Becoming an adult.
This is it, becoming an adult. It's saying your opinion and, maybe losing a friend or something. That's actually being an adult. But, I actually have one thing, if I was a teacher, I wouldn't like. What I hate, though, is when people bring up something controversial or not controversial or whatever that has nothing to do with the readings. So I'm also like, I was never interested in classes where people just like, because they didn't do the readings, they would just like mention something random just to have a conversation and debate. I mean, no, there are some readings that are assigned every week, and you should try and stay on top.
Well, I was kind of one of those things. But but I do think, I mean, I guess she's not talking about, I don't know I don't know what she did in the class, but I have a feeling it was not that. I think it was more controversial statements rather than,
So listen to this stat. Listen to this stat. This is hilarious. According to a 2021 survey administered by College Pulse of over 37,000 students at 159 colleges, 80% of students self-censor at least some of the time. So this is both the most meaningless statistic out there, and also it's like people lied, right? I mean, if I would love to meet those 20%.
20% lied. At least
who never self-censor.
They were boasting about, no, man, I never hide my true feelings.
Look at this. 48% of undergraduate students describe themselves as somewhat uncomfortable or very uncomfortable with expressing their views on a controversial topic in the classroom. I mean, it's a controversial topic, so it's normal, natural to perhaps, if you're for some people to feel like a bit, oh shit, should I say this? Do I want to deal with this backlash?
Bree made the same point. Bree made the same point that sometimes it's a controversial point and you don't have enough knowledge, so you don't want to make it. You don't want to come down it one way or another. But no, it's just I mean, look at this example she's written about, that somebody says something that is controversial. The room felt tense. I saw people shift in their seats. Someone got angry, and then everyone seemed to get angry. After the professor tried to move the discussion along, I still felt uneasy. I became a little less likely to speak up again, and a little less trusting of my own thoughts. I mean, Jesus Christ! Like,
I don't know what that means. Isn't that exactly what you wanted?
Like real-time psychological breakdown of like my own feelings. And first of all, I don't necessarily believe your description of what happened in the room. I'm sorry,
it could be your impression.
I mean, anybody who's watched a lot of crime movies like I have knows that witnesses cannot be trusted. So and then shifts in their seat. Maybe they just farted, who knows. Sometimes you
and people since when are people like, since when do people like being in uncomfortable situations? So maybe something was said and people feel uncomfortable. I mean,
who cares anyway? But she I mean, it feels like she's discussing her personal issue about the fact that if other people feel uncomfortable, she feels the need to self-censor. Well, okay, That's your problem, buddy. Like, I'm sorry, but what do you want us to do about it? Like, I don't I mean, as anybody can tell, I don't particularly feel uncomfortable saying stuff. So, it's just your issue. Get over
And she's coming from a from a conservative. I mean, she called herself a right-wing libertarian or something like that. Like, she's not supposed to be a leftist. Along those lines. So, I think that she make up her own. These categories are already meaningless, and so just make up your own. And then she has this part where apparently she spoke with a professor of sociology. So this is like the other evidence that she gave. And she asked the professor of sociology who says that she's also noticed a shift in their classrooms. Anyway, this is her take. She thinks she wrote, first, students are afraid of being called out on social media by their peers. So, I mean, I guess some people go, sure. Second, the dominant messages students hear from faculty, administrators, and staff are progressive ones. So they feel an implicit pressure to conform to those messages in classroom and campus conversations and debates. Like,
I'm sure that's true, but that's, again, like the people we were talking about, Espinoza, it's like going to the Jewish community in Amsterdam and being like, Rabbi, come on, let Espinoza. How about Christopher Hitchens? You want to allow Christopher Hitchens? What is going on? First of all, it's a school. Of course, it's a liberal. Colleges are dominated by liberal people. So what? You're surprised that your right-wing ideas don't have a big audience? And and I'm sure, by the way, there is a level of, I hate this sort of idea that, I mean, I hate social justice warriors. I hate, I was one of the people was excluded from a lot of things because, but that's always been the case. It's kind of reminded me of Noam Chomsky in an interview with Primo Radical, and he's like, about the smears of the progressive, like people who pretend to be progressive. Like, it's like religious organization used to smear and attack and do protest every time Noam Chomsky was going to talk, or like, what is this? Like, I'm sorry, but just somebody feeling uncomfortable is now like making you uncomfortable, and come on.
And if anything, she's in university. I mean, again, it's based on my experiences. In high school, you're so much more pressured to conform, but in university, there are actually so many people that you typically find your own clique of gang of weirdos that you can hang out with, who are like, and it's cool to be weird in university. I mean, this was just 12 years ago. Sometimes I feel like I'm like a 9-year-old who went to like the first university that was created. we were able
in
to...
the academy. I was watching. I was just a kid, and Plato was watching.
And sorry, 12 years ago is my bachelor. I mean, I still go to university, and I finished my master's like 5 or 6 years ago. So, Sam, but listen to this one quote. So she's saying he told me that he has often straight up lied about his beliefs to avoid conflict. Sometimes it's at a party. Sometimes it's at the capella rehearsal, and sometimes it's in the class. Imagine people didn't self-censor themselves at parties. What kind of messed up shit comes out of everyone's mouth? Like,
I mean, I must say, that's why I kind of wanted to. I mean,
thank God for self-censorship.
I must say. I mean, it's something that you should practice. Like, for people like me, I'm looking for, because just during the last 2-3 weeks over this whole fucking Russian invasion, I've lost 2 people as friends. One of them basically blocked me on WhatsApp.
Really? Stop.
No, I swear to God. One of them blocked me on WhatsApp. Other people, I mean, this has happened for the last 5 years. Now I've become a Russian, like I'm paid by the Russians or something.
Someone's paying you at least.
Yeah, sure. And then but every time I say, I remotely defend Islamic Republic's foreign policy, I'm a fucking stooge. I'm a you're a sellout. You're a hypocrite. So and usually, by the way, after a couple of months, these people crawl back up, and
I mean, they forget. I mean, just think about Afghanistan. Like, now you can go around and say whatever you want of Afghanistan.
Lost a couple of people there too.
But it's over now. Do they know? Tell them. It's all good now.
It's all good now. So nobody's talking about it anymore. So
prosperity has returned to Afghanistan.
Screw the fuck up. I feel uncomfortable. And imagine at parties, like, I mean, I used to do that, but don't do that. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean,
into,
don't just be don't just like,
bitch.
people don't like it also if you're always like, yeah, and agree with everything, but at
Yeah,
the same
don't.
time, don't share your.
No, the best thing which I don't follow is that if you don't have anything positive to say, shut the fuck up. So, that should be good. I really need to, I need to do that mantra.
But this is not the last time we're going to hear about this girl. So I'm going to read some of these tweets and then we'll come back at how she got this opportunity and everything to be a guest writer for the New York Times at the age of 22. Yeah. But anyway.
Article, which is, I think it's like what, 1,500 words maybe?
No, man. This is like
a page and a half.
700. Yeah, I doubt it's over 1,000. Anyway, that's fine.
It's basically like an entry into a diary saying, I felt uncomfortable a couple of times.
Yeah.
And that was the whole article.
But okay, Sam, listen here, right? So you have these tweets. One person wrote, I read the article. She wasn't censored. People disagreed with her. This one, Gordon Cook, I think maybe that's me, but no, I'm joking. But he wrote, it's kind of cute that she thinks there was a magical time when dissent was welcome, celebrated in higher education. So in fact, and then he goes, was that during the McCarthy era, the civil rights era, or the Reagan era? In fact, her criticism even doesn't go that deep to even require that. I mean, she's just like, she's not saying that she's being even silenced by the university.
Yeah, it's
or some
literally
kind of,
it's literally
actually
like
she's not being, well, people are
she's literally saying people be nicer to people who have controversial views. That's her whole call to action, I guess.
Yeah, people be nicer, so so more people share their controversial views.
Yeah, and don't do ad hominem attacks, I suppose. That's
maybe
the most.
The next tweet someone wrote in quotations, and the next slide, my best friend is an actual communist. So that's something that she brought up. I can't remember in what context why she brought that up.
No, she was saying people are surprised that my best friend is an actual Bree's face in that picture is
I know.
I guess.
And then keep on, maybe go to the last slide. Someone wrote, she never said what things she can't say. Yeah, for some reason she didn't want to. And then the second one, the look on Bree's face when this girl said an actual communist. You can't be an actual communist if you're in your early 20s because you're unable to live the communist life. So I guess can you?
Ideologically.
Yeah, ideologically.
Nobody lives a perfect communist or liberal life. That's a bit harsh, man.
True, fine.
Unless you're living in a commune, sharing everything.
But Jesus Christ, man. Apparently she had a huge backlash on, Twitter, which when an article came out, and that's how Brianna found her. And
there is somebody who's written, so here comes the Twitter hate just for talking to this one. I like to say, this is not, by the way, hate. This had great entertainment value. We laughed, we loved, we enjoyed ourselves. It was great. It was fantastic. Please do more. Please interview these guys more, Bri. And just maybe don't do so much. You don't need to make their argument so much better than
and finding real good examples, because the examples she pulled out opened a lot of other doors and other topics of discussion. When she said that this girl in her class apparently wrote an article that maybe Black people are actually biologically different and inferior. This was Brianna's example.
No, it wasn't the girl in her art. It was somebody who would become a Ninth Circus judge, in her emails.
Really? I thought it was...
I that's the one I remember. There was some famous case that there was this lady who was in her emails with a friend basically said that, I'm not sure if Black people have the same intelligence as...
I thought it was one of her classmates who wrote an article and said that.
I maybe that too. I mean, Bri had a lot of life experience. She's been
Bri had much more interesting ones. And then she kept on saying, I was in college a while ago, isn't that
by the way, I still don't think anybody should like say self-censorship is necessary or groupthink is good or something, but
No,
what
sure.
she was saying is just shows I'm just surprised by the lack of education. Like people at Harvard are saying this shit, you know, and
At Breeze.
people
You're talking about
yeah,
Breeze.
yeah, and people becoming Ninth Circus judges. It's just the education system and the meritocratic system needs to change its merits or something. It's standards.
No, I agree with you there. And then, okay, I don't know if you have anything else to say here. I want to talk about the New York Times part. Like that was pretty interesting. Insightful.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So I mean, she says. So I guess she is.
As
she's
always,
a
you're more
journalist.
interested in the mechanics of it. How did they actually manage to get this done? I don't know.
And yeah, she explained. Now there, for some reason, she didn't want to share any examples. But when it came to her personal emails with the New York Times and their back and forth, she was very open about that. I wonder if that's something the New York Times appreciates in that way. But she's a journalist, so she publishes articles all the time. And apparently the New York Times, so she's only 22, the New York Times contacted her. And what did they say? They're like, would you like to be one of, like, would you consider, we're looking to recruit young writers, and please consider pitching a story to us and all this. So it's very interesting how I guess they go like finding talent who they think would, which is fine. I mean, what else are they going to do? I mean, in a way, I'm not criticizing it too much, but it's just interesting.
I mean, by the way,
they go on like spot these kind of people who, you know, talk about issues that they like.
Clickbait. No, they're looking for clickbait. Yeah, exactly. And they got a perfect one.
And apparently, and then she's like, yeah, and it took 4 months of editing for this article. So I was like, what was the first version? Like, what did you guys talk about there? Unless the New York Times took their sweet time to get back to her every time. Maybe that's the case. But 4 months for this, I was a bit surprised. So again, maybe it's the New York Times, but that's very interesting, huh? How they pretty much go scouting for kind of you. Yeah.
I mean, I remember there's this movie which I think is shitty, but so Darren Aronofsky's Mother. Have you heard? Because it had an exclamation mark, so everybody made fun of it. You can't say mother; it has to be mother. Yeah, but yeah, and he wrote that in a weekend. Like he had a dream, and then he wrote that on a weekend or during a week. So and even though that's not a great movie, like far more advanced than this, at least it was probably 80 pages long. I don't understand how 4 months of editing on this. What is this? Das Capital? What's going on?
Unless like the New York Times was like, you know, responding to her like, you know,
in once a month or
something like that, and make this.
Yeah, I can imagine they were working on it.
Well, I don't want to let the story go, but I don't have anything else to say. Come on, find something to say.
I'm sorry, Cam. We have to let it go now. Yes, I'm sure she'll write more stuff. Don't worry.
But as good as this, though, I don't know. I feel like
she's very young, so she might grow and become far more, you know. Although no, I usually people tend to follow what they are. I'm hopeful that she will continue becoming a worse and worse writer, like you know, like Tom Friedman. Hopefully, she'll follow that trajectory.
Yeah, true. Soon she'll stop like pointing to like irrelevant facts and just be like, my neighbor told me.
On this hand, it is interesting. On the other hand, it is not interesting at all. So what the fuck are you talking about?
All right, Sam, let's look at a few quote unquote progressive tweets. And this time they're not all on Russia, Ukraine, but many of them are. And before, please like and also subscribe if you haven't. So Sam, this first one was from Statista, and maybe actually this one could come in handy later when we're talking Russia, Ukraine, sanctions, oligarchs even. So they wrote that, did you know the term oligarchs is of Greek origin? Okay, can be translated Durafio. Okay, thank you. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has heightened scrutiny of the country's ultra wealthy, who are astoundingly rich compared to the size of the Russian economy. So pretty much what it's saying, this graph is saying, is showing what share of the country's GDP belongs to billionaires' wealth. And you get it? It took me a while to. Okay, nice. You're smarter than me.
No, well, I looked at it a little longer. I guess I was,
But the graph isn't very damning for Russians, is it? I love how Sweden is like right there as well.
I mean, Russia was further ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
But
22
now,
as
so
of
it took
February.
a 5% hit. Yeah.
What happened between March and February 2022? It's Russia suddenly jumped.
Or maybe because they lost some, I don't know. Well, but Sweden is
Yeah.
right up there. The US is right up there. France, India, Switzerland, at least Canada.
And by the way, this is okay. I get it. I just read the subtitle: billionaires' wealth. So, okay,
it's not even
like
oligarch.
because yeah, you could argue corporations in America are far. You know what I mean? Like in Russia, it's a far more individually sort of based thing. But in America, you have like boards and or in UK or that type of thing. So it's a bit of it's not necessarily a very accurate picture
in that way
how
too.
Concentrated your economy is.
So it could be more concentrated in the US or so in that case.
Yeah, of course.
In what you're saying.
I mean, to be honest, I assume wherever there is more poverty, there is more concentration of wealth. I assume, but I would imagine it's about the same.
Yeah. Really. And this kind of actually reminds me of the Matt Taibbi interview on Analysis News, and he lived in Russia all throughout the 90s. And I mean, this isn't too new, but he talked about the process of when the USSR went away. They were just like, okay,
we're not for parts.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, okay, we're not going to sell it to foreigners. Fine, but let's just find a bunch of guys in our country who are either rich or we'll make them rich and just give them the parts, give them the different parts of the economy to them, and let's move on, which is like a very liberal capitalist. I'm sure the US welcomed that. I mean, they would have. The US would have preferred if they could get the shares of those, of those things. But I guess the second best thing in their mindset is maybe, give it to some rich oligarchs.
Capitals within the country. But I must say, in a way, I mean, by the way, I think oligarchy, I mean, there's some, because when you read Greeks, they like some people supported democracy, some people supported like oligarchy. Xenophon, who I liked, was I think largely supporter of oligarchy. I don't think it's like I don't necessarily support oligarchy or oppose it. I think oligarchy is the way, like at this stage of history we are in, it's just there is no other way to run nation states or anything. I believe everywhere is an oligarchy, rule of the few. Just the few might change.
I mean, this graph supports empirically that point. This is not unique to Russia whatsoever. I mean, and they picked these countries, who knows, maybe if they would have picked Nigeria and like, I don't know, some other country, it would have been perhaps more even, who knows.
I mean, it's going by billionaires. So it's not going according to constant. Like I'm sure there may be nations where wealth is concentrated more, but they may be no billionaires or something. But it's the way like Russia privatized. I don't think it was even legal. Like when you have a state at that level, you can't. I mean, that's why meritocracy is a bit of a bullshit anyway. Because, for example, you have a company that is like you have an organization that basically has oversight over the wheat industry. You can't give that to the most. Like you have to give that to somebody you trust. This is a national security issue in many ways. Food
or national reliability.
Or even, when you nationalize it, well, then who do you put as the head of the national company? You can't just do a meritocracy and this guy, he has studied like abroad, he's like has the right qualification, he should come. No, you have to sometimes. That's most of corruption is not even. I mean, I'm not talking about petty corruption. Corruption at this level is about trust. It's about serving. Trust and serving those who served you before, paying them back.
I know.
So I think it should be looked like, that's how it should be.
I mean, it can be done in other ways within the realistic context. No, I'm just saying, you could nationalize a lot of these industries and then, the government runs it. That's who you trust. You trust the government trust itself. And I'm sure they nationalized some stuff. I'm sure they did.
I was more talking about but there you can have corruption. Again, you can put your friends as the head of
the CEO or
the Ministry of blah blah. Ministry of
I mean, that's
and if it's if it's privatized, as in the case of Russia, again, you can't allow industries like that. Even that's why privatization is basically a lie in many ways. You can't privatize goddamn telecom. It's not privatized. It's just you sold it to your friends who you trust. That's what, because you can't just hand that over to just
no,
free
but
market.
you're just finding so many industries that are pretty much run as if they're publicly owned, but just the money goes to like a few people. So my only point is that you can easily in the same exact I mean, it's realistic. I'm not saying something unrealistic, I think, which is that, you can nationalize these things, and that doesn't solve all problems. I get what you're saying. It clearly doesn't solve all problems, but perhaps it can be better for more people if it's rather nationalized.
No, I am, but my point is that even when you privatize them, they are still in reality nationalized. Because you can't have goddamn
but the profit is going more to someone, whereas then maybe the government could pocket more of the profit and maybe use
but there has been loads
weapons.
of cases. Again, yes, and there has been many cases where government run shit has been as bad as I mean, I'm largely a leftist and Marxist, but yeah.
No, for sure. And there are a lot of things that the government runs in a lot of countries, and they run pretty smoothly and well.
Yeah. I've been told.
Okay, let's move on and not continue to. I think we're disagreeing, but I'm not. I don't think
sure. Yeah. I was trying to make my point about that. It's a lie.
No, that was a good point, though. Honestly, not joking. I'm not being sarcastic.
This is not a petty sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Steven Donziger. After representing Amazon indigenous peoples for 28 years, I just went to the halfway house in the Bronx to give another urine sample. The sample was put in the bag and sent to lab with 14 billion in annual revenue. For-profit shaming industry at work, 46 days to go.
Why does he have to give a urine sample?
Because I guess he's out, because he got out, he said, because of overcrowded, right? No, he's out on like house arrest kind of thing. I think he's serving the rest of his term at
so you shouldn't do drugs while you're on, like, that's really
I mean, that's one of the ways that they throw you back in jail. It's one of the easier ways, I guess, in the States, and probably
that's really harsh, man. How do you supposed to go through life outside? Fuck that, man.
Hey, don't end up in jail.
I feel this guy, man.
For you.
By the way, this, can you imagine, like, nobody's, I mean, in the mainstream media, New York Times is not talking about the Steven Donziger, but they are publishing articles about people feeling uncomfortable in classrooms.
They're not publishing. Christ. They went and, okay, I mean, the girl did pitch
the idea.
They were like, okay, we've seen the other stuff that you've written, so you look like you're on the right track.
This is our way of we don't want to talk about Donziger like that.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.
Who wants to hear about that?
Okay, next one, Anna Kasparian. Oh my God, Anna, I'm so not jealous.
Okay, I'm interested.
She wrote, I'm so jealous of my friends in Brooklyn who get to go to this. If you haven't bought your tickets, you're crazy.
What is it?
It's a goddamn, I guess, like stand-up comedy / political show with Francesca Fiorentina and I believe, where's the chap? Sam Cedar and Majority Report.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is awful.
I know, are you really jealous? I mean, all of your friends going, I mean, honestly, I mean, even you. I know that these guys are your friends. Although Young Turks and Sam Cedar, they don't work much together, do they? Situation room. I guess it's like, mixing.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But Sam Cedar and TYT, they never really hang out, do they?
Sometimes I
mean, Francesca does.
I don't know. No, Emma Wickman used to be from TYT.
So no, I'm talking about Sam himself specifically. Yeah, but because Francesca does.
I mean, like, again, who's pot calling the kettle black? But Sam Cedar and Francesca Fiorentini are not funny, and they don't have any insights. Like, one of them would be useful. Like, you have to have either be funny or have insights.
Francesca Fiorentini
provide neither.
I mean, she was more.
Who are the two other people?
I don't know.
Tiffany Caban, Matt Lee. I've heard of Matt Lieb, but I don't know where or how or why. But I have heard of it.
Let's move on.
But Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, man, no, I'm not.
The next one, though, No, that's a sad one. That's like, this how your life can change like that, kind of. In the span of 1 week, my TV show Redacted Tonight was canceled. This is Lee Camp because of sanctions. My podcast was deleted by Spotify, and my YouTube show is now banned across Europe. If you want to keep supporting my work, search for Lee Camp on Patreon.
Jesus Christ. I had no idea about his podcast and YouTube. Yeah. Again, people are feeling uncomfortable in classrooms. Yeah, Camille, please, let's focus on real issues. Who cares about Lee Camp and him being banned in Europe and all that? Let's focus on people feeling uncomfortable when they say like want to say racist.
Yeah, I don't know. Sam is making reference to our previous segment where we discussed the funniest Bad Fate interview. So you have to go check that out. Glenn Greenwald. So Sam, I sent you this Reuters article, and I thought, it's not April Fool's. No, it's March. This is apparently real, and it's based on leaks, and Intercept reported it, and then Reuters, which it pretty much says, Glenn Greenwald, that's nice. Definitely grateful that we live in a society where Mark Zuckerberg and Google executives determine when we can advocate violence against certain people and when we can't. Seems healthy and democratic. I clicked on the Reuters article. It supported exactly what, even Glenn didn't even take it too far. They were internal.
Talk about this.
So we'll come back to it more properly.
We'll come back to it. Yeah. This was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was. Russians. Be racist towards them. It's okay. They are Russians. They don't have feelings. If you prick them, they don't feel.
Like Jesus. Yeah, this is. These Facebook and Facebook, they just seem like they've really like lost their touch. Like they can't do like one right thing, like you tell them to go left and they go right away into the wall on the right.
In trying to turn around, the car just flips over like 6 times.
They look like just completely lost, even like in the mainstream kind of world.
I just hope. I'm not very I don't think it's very likely. But why doesn't Instagram and fucking WhatsApp get hit? Like, why doesn't WhatsApp loses its? WhatsApp must be destroyed,
man. And you mentioned it. They just have all these contracts against. And WhatsApp has actually deteriorated. At least for me, I downloaded a new version, and on my computer, it doesn't allow me to send to myself now. For some reason, I don't show up in my WhatsApp things, which.
No, you have to save your.
No, I have done all that, but I've been doing this for years. I've been saved as a contact, and it shows up on my phone. But now it stopped showing up on the computer application.
Jesus God!
Maybe that's me. God. I don't know. But they just like regress.
They keep regressing, and it's the worst UI. It's the worst UX, and Instagram. Instagram is not filtered in Iran. You want to upload a video on Instagram, it takes you like 10 hours, and then sorry, something went wrong. Blah, blah. Oh, fuck off. And then YouTube is filtered like that. You upload. It's fuck off. Like, really, I can't wait for Facebook to get destroyed. I really
you're right. So like on Instagram, surprised I have to do a little bit of Instagram for my university and work and stuff. And even like a little photo, like a little video. Sometimes takes like a minute, and it's something that usually takes like 2 seconds based on the speed that you're used to. So you're right. Back then I guess Facebook were a bit smarter. They went and bought Instagram and WhatsApp, which is probably the best thing they've done ever.
Business decision.
But now I think now they would go.
I feel like
now if they try, they go buy like something shitty.
Whoever invented Instagram, though, I really want to, again, Jesus, fuck you. You destroyed because before that, at least you could goddamn share a trailer or a video. Now it's because Facebook basically has become populated by racist geriatrics.
Racist geriatrics, not young ones.
Not young ones. Young ones are on Instagram. And then Instagram, all these mostly these idiots about doing their body stuff, and then a picture of foods, and Jesus Christ!
Don't hate on the food pictures, though.
I hate the food pictures. I hate everything. And it's like TV, man. I need widescreen. I need if I want to watch it. Sorry.
I mean,
This
I
is a
never
personal
watch.
issue.
I
This is a
never watch
personal-
anything long on Instagram though. That's kind of
Me too.
yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
It gets annoying. But a lot of good content, comedy content is being produced, and I miss out on them.
Oh my
And
God,
I
I keep on
hate
wanting to tell
that.
you who are these genius, like amazing independent actors all over the places who are just absolutely hilarious, and they do like these sketches and these characters. There are a few of them that are just surreal how good they are.
I sent you. Do you remember I sent you that kid who does geography, and he does these funny like he tells you about basically. He tells you about like animals, usually like hardcore like animals like alligators.
Oh yeah. I have a point
He's
about that.
So
actually.
funny, man. If maybe we try to put a picture of him.
Hold on.
It's so funny. He's like I hate biology and all nature programs and all that. But this guy, I just can't stop laughing. He talks about the relationships and all that. It's so good. But I'm missing out because Instagram is shit. And do you want to keep watching? Yes, I click. Oh, God damn it. I hate you, Instagram.
But man, thank God for like this kid and other people, because this whole like animal documentary industry really needs like a revolution or something. Yeah. Like the other day, again on TV, one of these nature shows came on, amazing quality camera, but the exact same one, I was like, I'm sure I saw this lion in the 90s. Is this the same guy? So, like,
is this the same footage? I mean, just enhance the same. God. David, are you lying? David Atom.
They need a little.
I must say,
tweaking of their of their style.
About 10 years ago, about 10, 15 years ago, when Blue Planet was at its height of popularity, and my dad, everybody bought the DVDs.
But that's also just a good version of like the same thing that they always do. So yeah, this one they just
and even that though,
camera,
that is like after a while you're like it's a very nice screensaver. I truly like it's so boring. You know, you need to add a panache.
But they've done it on Instagram and stuff. They've done it. There's these people who
go
and show you these
lizards
lions and shit, or like lions and all of them. They're crazy.
The way they like he explains like it's just so fun, and he keeps like referencing Trump or something. It's just funny. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So you can't just go. You can't do that, David. And now the deer moves to his autumn residence. Oh,
so I know that deer. I swear to God.
This is it. This is the same deer when I was a kid.
I swear that's how similar their shit is. But okay, Sam, let's wrap this up with one last tweet. I mean, I'm not a huge Ben Norton fan too much. Not that I know his work a lot, but this has to be his best tweet.
Yeah, that's a funny
So New York Post, I haven't read the article, but they wrote 1 in 5 people, and I believe this, considering OnlyFans to afford living in New York City as rents skyrocket. And Ben wrote, what stage of capitalism is this? That's kind of funny.
OnlyFans. But New York Post is the equivalent of Daily Mail and shit. So I wouldn't put too much.
But man, Sam, this makes sense to me. Do you know about this OnlyFans world?
It's ladies doing webcams, sexy shows. Am I right?
Yeah, mainly it's ladies. But
or guys. I'm sure there are guys as well.
And like, it's just like, Instagram, but private. And, you have to pay like a subscription to get the channel. And they never like even put a little preview. So like immediately you usually have to subscribe. And then, there are all kinds of different ones where people do different kind of
pictures of
things. Not until you subscribe, really. And and you saw that OnlyFans wanted to move away from this business model. Do you remember that? Right. And then they changed their mind like 2 days later. They were gonna ban like all like these kind of like soft.
Who was banned?
OnlyFans themselves. They were like, we're gonna change and we're not gonna allow soft porn and stuff anymore. But then 2 days later they realized, well,
that's 90% of our industry.
Otherwise you just go on YouTube and you watch other stuff like. There's a reason it's called OnlyFans.
Okay, guys. Reminds me of Monty Python. Their bit in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they attack the French castle and then they start throwing everything like a cow and they keep throwing shit and then they go, run away, just immediately, run away, just immediately backtracking. Makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing I think happened with OnlyFans like a few months ago. They were
Jesus,
like,
all right.
Okay. But yeah, good tweet by Ben Norton. That was a funny one.
Yeah. Let's end the tweets because my headphone is
Yeah,
running
that's
out.
it. That was the last tweet.
Oh, all right, nice.
All right, Sam, let's move on to progressive geopolitics. So why don't you get us going? And folks, please like and subscribe, of course.
Sure, yeah. So there was a couple of relatively important updates. There is one that is happened. Let's start with South Korea, which I think is a very interesting and somewhat undercovered story, although it's getting more attention, I think. So, conservative candidate squeaks to victory in South Korean election. The Guardian reported Yoon Suk-yeol declares victory in presidential election after liberal opponent concedes defeat with 98% of ballots counted. So Yoon Suk-yeol, a conservative former prosecuted, was elected in a particularly bitter political campaign for Korea, especially. They're far more respectful, but yeah, he was elected, and there are two things that are interesting. First of all, he's conservative, he's not liberal, so there is a likelihood that he takes a harsher stance on North Korea, so which would fit in with the whole vision of US sort of shifting towards the Pacific, because from what I remember from the reporting, the liberal president of the South Korea was crucial in the talks with the North Korea and pushing pushing US as well. So although during his campaign he has said that he's gonna continue to try to unify the peninsula and not cause tensions to rise or anything. So in that sense, most of the disagreements were on internal issues. One thing that has a lot of liberals and people like me, in fact, a bit worried, is that this guy has described himself as anti-feminist and has said that South Korean women are largely they're largely in the equal, they're not oppressed within Korean society. And yeah, I mean, first of all, women are oppressed in every from so far. I've really fucked up there, guy. And then really are bad. Sorry. So first of all, second of all, in Korea, from what I mean, I'm not an expert on Korean stuff. I'm going by my very limited knowledge of their movies and some of the news reports I've read, but it's not. In fact, it's relatively a traditional society until recently. I mean, culturally, even more so than maybe governmentally. In many ways, it's very. There are limitations on women. There is a whole beauty aspect to it, which I don't know too much about. That there is a whole thing to be more beautiful and all that. I think maybe there is the same things for men as well, but maybe not as intense, because men are there is this thing that men now have to be good looking and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So especially in East Asia, there is this feminine. So
this is very interesting.
I don't know too much about it. I've only read Guardian articles or I don't know, New York Times or something. But there is I don't know if you noticed, but South Korea is there is most plastic surgery in the world is done in South Korea.
Really? No idea. I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have thought Yeah,
it's mostly eyes and nose and yeah, man. So some of the pictures are fascinating of the people pre-post. It's almost like they, as they say in Iranian, they just destroyed the thing and they rebuilt it. But yeah, there is you could argue there is a Western sort of, I don't know, poisoning of culture or something. I don't know how to describe that there's this appeal towards the white eyes instead of didn't you know this? That's why South Korea is South Korea is the first, I think, Brazil second, Iran third.
Okay, and that all makes sense.
Used to be. Yeah. I mean, Iran, a lot of people, Europeans, come to Iran for plastic surgery. So it's weird. It's a very weird one.
And have you heard of this one? In my favorite country, people go there to get hair transplants. Turkey.
Yeah, they do
That's
that.
like a big
They
hub
come
for that, apparently.
same in Iran. Same. A lot of when I was traveling to Shiraz and stuff, you would see a lot of actually people from Arabic countries come to Turkey and Iran because medical system is better, and when you're rich, you come. And it's still far cheaper than Europe, though. It's
exactly.
as good, but far cheaper. But anyway,
so I've seen British folks also go there apparently a lot. So
yeah. And I'm, by the way, if I receipts a tiny bit more, I swear to God, I'm gonna.
I think you're good. You're safe.
I don't know, man. It depends. I'm praying every night. Anyway, but my point.
What was your point?
Was that women are not treated.
That's a good point.
Narcissism. I mean, just immediately. But yeah, women are not necessarily equal to men. I assume legally or culturally in Korea. I don't know enough about it, but I assume they have a lot of problems in the society and there's a lot of barriers and shit. So it is, and the spy cam thing, I forgot about that. There's the whole spy cam thing going on. It's a big issue in Korea, people taking hidden videos of women and then sharing them online. So there's all these issues, and he's anti-feminist. So I don't know, I hope it's just more of I doubt he's a politician, so I doubt he really believes in anything. He probably has said that to whip up support. I hope when he rules, he's not ruling as an anti. He probably will, but who knows.
Or ruling, or just even, because I don't even know how you would. It's not like you can ban like women from education or anything, but I guess just promoting kind of hateful narratives programs. Or like, making it maybe people feeling more. What was it, the thing that was said about Trump? He legitimized racists by allowing them to, feel more comfortable to come out. And but even that, maybe they didn't need Trump. Trump is gone now.
It's a reflection. That's the thing. Politicians are a reflection of society, just like media. So it's sad to see, but it is what it is. He did win a narrow victory.
These races are always narrow, I guess, except maybe Obama Romney. That was a decent trashing. That was I think he won by 10 million the popular votes.
Did he? Oh, all right. I had
from what I recall.
Yeah, I would say the only real thrashing I can recall is the Nixon.
Okay, no.
I wasn't born then, so I've read about it. But the Nixon, what was the guy? McGovern. McGovern? Yeah, McGovern. Crushed him. He won one state. I think it's just
I don't know how many states he won compared to Biden in terms of delegates, but I know popular vote.
Popular vote. 10 million is not bad.
So. Yeah, compared to Romney. Sorry, the good old days, huh, Romney? I'm joking.
Oh man, Romney. By the way, we're gonna talk about it in our.
He got younger.
Geopolitics. No, he's getting younger. But but he's having the life. This is the time of his life. I don't think he could be more happy. Yeah, when we go to Russia, I'll remind me.
All right, for sure. Yeah. Okay, should we do Iran next, or?
It's a brief one. Okay, not a super brief one. But
so there are some big updates concerning Iran nuclear deal.
Look, everybody for the last week, they keep saying that it's pretty much a done deal. But they say there is the final version, but then there's these issues that need to be resolved politically. But then they said, blah, blah. What was the new development to an extent, which was largely reported in Iranian media, not so much, although Guardian, I think, covered it, was that Russia, Lavrov sent a letter saying that our interest in the negotiations must be preserved, and the sanctions on Russia shouldn't affect the revival of the deal. And then Iranian side and American side both said that sanctions with Russia has nothing to do with this deal. Both said that. But then the media, from what I've been proven wrong recently quite a lot about media. So I feel like they keep saying, could Russian thing derail the Iranian nuclear deal? Russia drops a bomb in the nuclear negotiation. I don't understand how could Russia has like what can they do? Okay, we won't sign the revival deal. Don't. Like Iran doesn't care about Russia. It's not a big deal. It's the American sanctions on bankings. Russia doesn't even like Iranian-Russian economic trade is marginal. It's China that's a big deal. I mean, if anything, even China, I'm not sure that. Anyway, it's about America. This is about Iran and America.
I mean, I think, sorry to cut you off there, but I mean, I'm guessing like the whole Russia-Ukraine thing did perhaps like, throw something at these negotiations. But you're right. I mean, he just threw something so Russia can kind of say this, but it shouldn't be a major hurdle that they can, overcome between Iran and the US.
Like, yeah, exactly. But then like 2 days ago, they were like, yeah, the deal is going to happen any day now. Then head of Iran's sort of Security National Council came out and said America is not willing to make a political decision to allow both sides to defend their deal. So again, Iranians are sort of putting the blame on American side's political lack of decision making. Just about an hour ago, though. And then the Iranian head of Iran's negotiation team went back to Vienna to continue the negotiations, and they were supposed to negotiate as of now. But then, just about an hour ago, there was the report that due to an external factor or external something, the negotiations have been paused.
Really?
And and they're working on Joseph Borrell, the head of the person responsible for EU's foreign policy, said that the final draft of the revival deal for return of America to the deal is ready, but the external factors have stopped the thing from going on. And then Iranian foreign minister spokesperson said we are working on he said no external factor. I have to translate it at the same time.
No problem.
No external factor will affect the will of the collective will.
It makes sense what you're saying.
The collective will for making a deal. The collective will for making a deal. So I don't know what is the external factor or anything. The BBC is speculating it could be the Russian thing.
I mean, it has to be that, right? I mean, if there is such a thing, if it's not made up.
Yeah.
If it's not made
up. If it's not made, or if it's not just some.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Who knows? The thing is, I remember. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what the external? I remember because I was going to mention a couple of countries that in the past threw in last deal sort
like
of hurdles.
Israel or Saudi.
Yeah, you mentioned. I don't want to say.
Yeah, but I mean, it could easily be the Russian. I mean, it makes sense for it to be. Yeah,
it could be that. But I don't understand why would it? Like, what is Russia's leverage? Like, we're gonna pull out of deal. Okay,
just playing all their cards. I'm guessing right now. I mean, just like
writing letters. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I agree with you. It's probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a bit surprised. I mean, I thought when it happened, Russia, Ukraine, I think that was one of the things I was thinking. I was like, this could impact, like, it could slow down the deal or, the negotiations. Because this is supposed to be the last round of negotiations, right? I mean, you said that a draft is ready, so maybe they don't need any more negotiations, but.
Yeah. Oh, but look at this update. Before this pause, this is according to Tasnim, Iranian sort of news agency. Before the pause, from a informed source. So take that as it's not they don't discuss the name. That the main remaining issue is in relation to individuals, companies, and organizations that are like sanctioned. So that's according to some informed source from SEPA.
Okay, so which is
some informed source. Yeah, close to SEPA. Sorry, close to SEPA.
Which is like Iran's how do you explain SEPA? Yeah.
yeah, it's the best way is Iran has two military branches. One is the sort of traditional like military, and then there is Sepah, which is pretty much it's pretty much like open military industrial complex. Like they do economic stuff.
Yeah,
they do
exactly.
they are supposed to protect the revolution as well as the nation, not just the military is just a nation. Like yeah, whatever. we just provide the security for the province. We don't deal with. I don't get it. It's all the same. It's military.
So I guess we'll see what happens with the Iran nuclear deal. But it's funny how you brought it up because I was looking at our videos, and 2 weeks ago we made a video saying, it's almost here. Like the deal is almost done. And
that's what we said. The European officials said.
We
didn't say anything. Of course. Don't put words. I don't want to.
Pigeon from Vienna told
any predictions regarding this. I'm just quoting other people.
Yeah. Okay, Sam. I guess it's time for Russia, Ukraine. So once again, why don't you lead the way?
Well, yeah. I mean, the war is continuing. The peace negotiations are not very apparently fruitful, according to Ukrainian or Russian sources, frankly.
And 2.5 million people have now left the country. 2.5 million refugees. That's quite a lot of people who've been had to force to leave the country. I haven't heard much of internal displacement so far, but I guess since the war is all over the country, there's nowhere to really internally displace
people, you try to run away to the border.
Yeah, so that's really messed up.
Yeah, it's really messed up.
War always is so.
Yeah, war always is, but I doubt this war is any different from Syrian or Yemen civil war in terms of like what's happening on the ground. But it's so interesting when you have so many cameras on the ground. And it reminded me of the Adam Curtis documentary about he has this thing about Rwandan. I don't think, maybe it wasn't the documentary, maybe it was a segment in Charlie Brooker's show, but he has this thing that in like it's just war, everybody turns bad basically. So it's been crazy. Basically you got the Russians attacking civilians, you got the Ukrainians, police and officials beating up Black and Indian students. It's really fucked up.
I mean, I really hope actually doesn't become like Syria and Yemen, because we're talking about hundreds of thousands of deaths. I mean, in Syria we don't even know a figure for death. Like nobody even throws one around. Like 100,000 you hear sometimes, because for Iraq they always kind of said the deaths. In Yemen too, it's kind of even nobody's even seems to be keeping track.
I must say though, considering that now it's going on for 3 weeks, if Putin had succeeded in taking Kiev earlier, but at this point I think he made a huge mistake. He got played basically. I think.
You think so?
I'm not still. I mean, look, long term, who knows? But at this point, like he could have just taken the east, lower southeast, and then just
did he want more negotiation power? Is that what it? Did he got like Did he think like, let me just get all of Ukraine and then for sure I'll be able to, meet them halfway?
I think he thought that, first of all,
or the whole country. I guess the whole administration, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think he thought they could have easily, maybe he didn't, maybe, I'm just guessing, but they could have like taken over quicker and would have been welcomed a bit more, and they could have easily like just changed the government and gone back. I thought, that seems the rational plan, but who knows? But then again, who knows what is rational anyway?
But even now, in Kiev, apparently, like, the fighting is still limited to certain, the outskirts, right? So they haven't really breached into Kiev, and I guess
they haven't even surrounded it yet.
That convoy. I heard that convoy slid in too there.
No,
like that convoy has its own story as well. There's like the Russia-Ukraine war, and then there's the convoy.
Yeah. It's like the caravan of Trump.
But someone made a good point about the convoy. They were like, in Russia everything travels, and I guess that's their own country, by train. and it's much more efficient and smoothly. But here in Ukraine, in this part where they can't move their stuff around by train, it's causing extra logistical issues for them. But I mean, that should have been expected, right? I mean, I'm sure they knew
I
they weren't.
assume when you do war planning, I assume these are some of the things that come up.
Man.
But
And
who
you
knows,
listened to Matt Taibbi on Analysis News with Paul J, right? You sent it to me.
Yeah, that was great. That was a really
anything
awesome
that Matt Taibbi's
historical background.
Yeah, Matt Taibbi was there the whole time. Anything controversial to discuss?
What do you mean was there the whole
like
time?
the 90s?
In
sorry,
90s.
sorry, 90s. He was there.
He's during the Ukrainian war, during the Crimean war.
Sorry, I should have been more specific. So, I mean, he gives really good history of Putin and where Putin emerged from. People have heard he working a deputy mayor and all that, and using his KGB, like his, did I say KGB? Am I saying the organization right? KGB.
Yeah, he was.
Wait, what's the acronym again? KGB. Yeah, and he facilitated the mayor leaving Russia to not be prosecuted. So then
at that point he wasn't KGB though. That's
he was post KGB. Yeah, but Matt Taibbi was kind of saying he used his KGB connections or skills or whatever they are to get the mayor out of Russia and so he doesn't get prosecuted. Finland, yeah. And then people were impressed by those skills apparently, and then the rest is history, I guess. But Paul J said something, and he was like, until now I was thinking that Putin is rational, but maybe he's not rational. I mean, this rational, everybody he thought he was being rational. I mean, everybody thinks what they're doing is rational. Even based on the set of information that they have, right? So I mean, what's not a rational move? Like, what would you say is irrational? I mean, anything can be justified as rational based on the facts and the considerations in your head. I mean, anything could be argued to be rational, right? It's not rational to die. However, if you're extremely miserable, maybe it becomes rational to die prematurely. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I am. Yeah, but hoping. But I know. Well, I would say there's two things. First of all, depending on the set of facts and information you have, decisions vary. So we don't know what Putin knows, and there is no way to even what I mean? As anybody who reads history and later on you find out they have to, they're obviously, because of the way they live, they're extremely paranoid because people are after them in a sense, and because they used to be the people who used to go after people, so they know exactly what they assume what other people can think, so we don't know what they know, we don't know how they think, and there is no rationality. Everybody thinks they're rational, so I don't know. I wouldn't say anything is irrational, because there is no rationality. So
I know where Paul J was coming from, because I'm sure if you ask him what's an example of irrational, I'm sure he would say Bush's Iraq war, right? It was irrational, I guess, from this point of view of spending that much money, it ruining kind of Bush's reputation. You could say it's also irrational from the sense that it strengthened the Iranian regime, taking away one of its main rivals. But I'm sure for Bush it was also rational in some other ways. I had to react. We still got all this money, still made all this wealth and everything.
He was a rich kid who really didn't want to run, and Cheney offered to run the thing, and it was like, okay, you do it. And then irrational choice. If I was a rich kid who just wanted to, okay, I become president, so my dad shut the fuck up about me being a loser. Okay.
So winning a war is one of the most prestigious things, not in my eyes, but in the eyes of a lot of people that a president can do. Yeah.
Okay, you lost. But Paul J's position is rational.
Big fan, huge fan. Real news and Paul J.
He's so cool. Ahead, him and RJ Escal are the coolest two old men who have it. But anyway, his position regarding Iraq war is irrational if you're thinking as a very sober and realistic minded of the manager of an empire. Yeah, it's irrational to strengthen Iran. But if you're a failed son of George H.W. Bush, it definitely is a rational way to get your dad off your back. And definitely rational. So there is I would say there is one thing in history that I to this day boggles my mind. Hitler's attack on Stalin breaking the non-aggression pact, because that like from what I remember from uni years, like everybody, Nazis, including Nazis, were like, "Come on, man, just just wait. We don't need to do this." That seemed like the main, like that's as crazy, I think, as you can get.
Yeah, for sure. And
like in terms of calculations, I mean, obviously he was a psychopath, but that's putting the psychopath beside. How did you make that calculation? I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess in his head he thought, no, we've reached a point where we can. I mean, who knows? I mean, whatever. But great point. You're absolutely right. I mean, especially after the fact, it's even easier to make this point. Something like 80% of like the Nazi troops were busy fighting the Russians or something, if I'm not mistaken or getting.
But then no, it's not. You can't say it's hindsight 2020 because it's
even
like
then
Napoleon,
you could have
Napoleon had done the same shit. It was winter and you were fighting the British and that wasn't going very well either. Like I don't know what the fuck was going on.
That's a good example,
but I'm sure in his own mind he thought he was being rational, so
based on whatever, like, his thinking was exactly,
psychotic thinking.
Maybe like we'll catch them off guard, or who the hell knows.
Probably.
Okay, let's keep this going. You tell me where you want to take it. If not, I had the Reuters story, and we can talk about sports a bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's start, I think, before Reuters story, because that's the pinnacle. I mean,
I still don't know if it's like literally fake or not, but I mean, I'm trusting Reuters intercept Glenn Greenwald. It could be a joke. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Man, this is crazy, dude. The way they're like, okay, again, like it's like, again, at the height of Islamophobia, nothing like this was going on. Like that, you can just, they talk about Russians as if they're fucking Martians or orcs or something. Russians, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're basically asking for pledges of loyalty to Ukraine or pledges that you must condemn Putin's actions. What, like, freedom of thought is basically, it's very sad.
In our midweek tweet edition, I think I brought up the craziest example I've ever heard and seen, and this is nothing government. This is just one business owner. He decided to do this, which was the restaurant in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, which decided to remove beef stroganoff from its menu. I mean,
and you saw, by the way, I sent you the article to back up my claim of Putin becoming.
Yeah, exactly, right.
You said somebody said something.
No, Karib talked about it. I could get his comment in half a second. But so apparently in the New York Times article, it said that, yes, a big restaurant in Quebec.
The original restaurant that I thought Putin was, after reading that, I thought Putin was a Russian food. But apparently it's just like, it's just a recent invention. It's a pretty recent invention.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they're changing the name of Putin, which is like the most, like, it's Canada's only dish I can think of. And it's even really a Quebec Canadian thing. Yeah, I mean, Karib wrote regarding Putin, I don't know if any name changes. I'm also vegan. So he didn't know about that. But anyhow, I think that the Putin thing actually is over similar in sound to Putin. It's so stupid and sort of makes you want to cry and laugh at once. I mean, the beef stroganoff one is still more stupid, but this is also really stupid.
No, did you hear about I forget which orchestra, I think in New York or somewhere, they said they're not going to play Tchaikovsky because one of the people has a family in Ukraine or something. I mean, what the fuck is going on? Like, Jesus Christ, like are we gonna, so guys, we're gonna stop publishing Dostoevsky? He's a Russian. We feel Dostoevsky wrote War and Peace, or was that Tolstoy?
I don't know.
Mixed up these guys.
I mean, I hope they don't ban potatoes as well. I mean,
that's
in general.
I swear to God, that will be one thing that will like propel me into actual revolutionary movement. If somebody bans potatoes, like I will not show any mercy to anyone.
But man, like, here's one example. So I mean, I found this to be quite shocking as well. So of course they're making the owner of the Chelsea team in the UK football team, Abramovich, to sell the club already like 2 weeks ago, he put the club for sale. It's not easy to find people with a few $1 billion, just laying around.
Don't you like Chelsea? Don't you want to buy that?
Hey, but I like Arsenal. Let's not confuse things, which is owned by Abramovich's equivalent in the US. Actually, someone who's probably worse. But listen to this.
Warlord in Nigeria.
Listen to this. Chelsea won't be able now. Okay, so hold on. They've put a transfer ban, right, on players. So they love doing that. As soon as there's anything like, okay, you can't buy any players for like a year or so. That I found normal. But then Chelsea won't be able to sell new tickets for matches, including games in the European Champions League. Now listen to this one. And the club's merchandise stores will be closed. Like, I guess maybe you should say kudos to the British for being like, for being like, so like, taking this sanction all the way, like, down. But like,
I assume that maybe potentially because all those shops and stuff, because of the sanctions of stuff, they're worried that they might do something illegal. Because technically he's still the owner. You know
what these stores are? Yeah, I mean, hold on. Is Chelsea sponsored by Adidas or Nike? I mean, we're pretty much, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're sponsored by Nike right now, I believe. I mean, like what? Like some Chelsea / Nike store? Yeah.
They might get sued if there is like.
But I mean, I was just surprised that the sanction
it's goddamn. By the way, yeah, it's.
And yeah. I mean, and here and
the
selling ticket part, like they're telling them you can't sell. So yeah, the merchandise one maybe.
It is so sad, and I was in the you saw in the first days the interviews was Russian people were upset, McDonald's, all these places were leaving, and young people, a lot of people like these things, and then last couple of days interviews, kind of the tone has shifted because a lot of Russian people are basically going, yeah, okay, fuck off now. Like, yeah, we deal with it. We've dealt with, I mean, this is a country that defeated fucking Nazis. So, it's
and like, who the fuck gives a fuck about oligarchs? Like, I couldn't care less if Abramovich can't do X, Y, or Z, but I just find that this kind of approach and response with these levels of the ban, sooner or later it could turn out and target and become worse for people that are actually you would care more about.
The hypocrisy and the double standards. I mean, forget about, let's say, okay, your own nation is a different case and you treat your own citizen differently, blah, blah, blah. What about Saudi Arabia or, I don't know, a lot of Indian prime minister. Yeah. If you want to go around, and oligarchs connected to them, by the way, there's a lot of oligarchs connected to all these people active in Canada, in America, in Europe, in everywhere. The double standard is just so brazen that you can't, who wants to defend the oligarch? Who gives a shit? Oh, he lost his $600 million boat.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? But the double standard is it's racist. I mean, not
the
racist.
The double standard.
Ethnicist. I don't know, but it is basically going around saying that, yeah, we are fighting oligarch, but we're only going to take money from black rich people. It's so weird, no, it's not about racism though. It's nothing to do with that. But we're only going to focus on this type of
in this country.
It's so man. And I mean, I must say, I feel for the Russian people. If I were there, this is what happened to Iran a couple of years ago, kind of. But this is more, at least in the media, there was always this sympathetic figure that Iranians are actually nice and people are good everywhere, blah blah blah.
But the Russians are bad.
It's just everybody's the Rush, and let's do the Reuters one. That's
I was gonna say, okay, sure, let's go to Reuters because no. Since we mentioned sanctions and oligarchs, the Bad Fate interview would have been good too. But let's go to Reuters and we'll come back.
Let's do Reuters.
They all make sense. But yeah, I mean, apparently, guys, this is true. This is real. Apparently,
is disgusting.
But Facebook allows war posts urging violence against Russian invaders. So I'll just quickly read the first 3 paragraphs. Meta platforms will allow Facebook and Instagram users in some countries to call for violence against Russians and Russian soldiers in the context of the Ukraine invasion, according to internal emails seen by Reuters on Thursday. And then it goes on to say the social media company is also temporarily allowing some posts that call for the death to Russian President Vladimir Putin or Belarusian President Alexei Lukashenko, according to internal emails and to its content moderators. Now, this becomes even weirder, okay, because they got them, I guess they kind of got a hold of these emails some way, but here, quote, as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we have temporarily made allowances for forms of political expression that would normally violate our rules like violent speech, such as death to the Russian invaders. We still want to allow credible calls. How do you differentiate between? We still want to allow credible calls for violence against Russian civilians. A Meta spokesperson said in a statement. So I guess since the emails that come out and double down on this publicly, I mean, here's saying spokesperson said that in a statement. So
yeah, basically, yeah.
This is the weirdest. Again, weird behavior even for yourself. Why do you have to do that? I mean, maybe Facebook thinks this way they can change public perception about them by like joining in and hating on the Russians. I don't know. I mean, where is even the quote unquote rational thinking that we keep on? I guess maybe it's rational to do this.
Well, it's
win some brownie points among the administration.
Exactly. Yeah. At this point, that's the rational choice. But I mean, I would say it's just this is really infuriating because Russian army soldiers, the invaders and all that, they're conscripts. Unlike American soldiers who are fucking volunteers. They volunteer to do that shit. And then we are every day in every movie, in every media, including some of the even like anti-American like media.
Even I might say something like that.
Yeah, even Iranian TV. Iranian TV is like, American soldiers are different, blah, blah, blah. American soldiers, oh my God, they're so not good.
No, that's a great point.
I mean, they volunteer for that job, by the way. They volunteered for that job. Russian soldiers, they're conscripts mostly. I'm not talking about the general.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it's disgusting. It is really like a bunch of kids who are being forced to go kill some other kids are now being demonized by a bunch of rich assholes.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how long this is going to stay like this.
By the way, I'm a free speech purist. I think they should allow everything and anything to be said and nationalize these
as
platforms.
long as it's not threatening anybody's.
As long as it's not a direct threat, which is already like, and obviously libel and all that. But I mean, there shouldn't be just one group of people like singled out. You can threaten them with death, you can demonize them, you can stereotype about them, you can they're all killers basically.
No, this is like truly shocking every time I hear these things. And so that's the Reuters article.
Did you hear that noise?
No,
sorry. Okay, nothing.
Okay, let's keep on going. So what else is here? I see that there's the bad Faith Sanctions video. And I see that there's also Katie Halper, Lee Camp, Jesse Ventura, Vanguard. Yeah,
so the bad faith one was interesting because...
so it was, I'll just mention right now. So of course it was Bree, and she spoke with Grace Blackley. Is she a professor or just an academic?
I don't know. I think she's semi-journalist, academic type. I don't know.
And they talked about, the first part of the conversation, it just says commentator. Really yeah, so the first one was all about kind of econ and economics, which was interesting. And also, if China and China's currency can become the main currency. And I really liked her point there. She was like, it's not even, of course, the economy has to become much stronger for that to happen. But then China would also have to have a stronger military and then perhaps also some more political power in order for it to replace the US dollar. That was sober. She had a sober take on the cryptos. Yeah, she had a sober take on crypto. It wasn't like bashing it one way or also at the same time saying, we're all going to be exchanging in all these cryptos. But then they moved on to talk about sanctions, and I had misheard her. So in the first part, she talks about how we should like increase transparency in transactions.
By the way, just beyond the curtains, look at our production. That was one of the funniest production meetings we had because Camille said, she was great and stuff. And in the end, she said these things. And I was like, what? It felt like an episode of Twilight Zone. We were talking about the same thing, but two different versions completely.
But you ended up being right because I missed the last 5 or 10 minutes because you are. So first, she talked about transparency, and I guess that could affect everyone, right? and that's different than sanctions. But then she did go on to say that no, you can target the sanctions enough to only hurt the oligarchs. In Russia's case, okay.
And then she dodged.
And she also
question.
Oh, really? What was it?
I think so. Bree said Bree's question was that how do you all right, you sanction these oligarchs and you can target them very well, but how do you prevent the trickling down of them putting the cost on the normal people? And then she just reverted back to saying that, oh no, because in Russia's case is so specific and we can trace it back to the fact that this Russian state it's the oligarchs that stole their thing, as if all the other oligarchs are working hard.
But despite that doesn't change away the problem. That doesn't change.
That doesn't change the problem.
The only thing she said one thing. She says the oligarchs have all their wealth outside of Russia, so we can seize those. But that would be just half-ass sanctions. That would be useless. I mean, because then they can continue their corporations and businesses and everything in Russia. So I mean, you can go take all their yachts. I guess she would say, no, that's going to put so much pressure on them. I mean, she was saying that these people want to travel, the oligarchs and their family, they want to travel. They want to send their kids to boarding schools in the UK. Therefore, they will put pressure on Putin, and Putin will back off, I guess.
Put personal sanctions on them. Like they don't give them a visa to come to London or something. But I think when you sanction them financially, you cannot deny they are awful people. But for example, the guy controls the wheat industry in Russia. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to put the cost down to the consumers. The normal people are going to suffer. Or even not just that, when, it's not like the business guy is going to go, okay, I'm going to reduce my own earnings now and put that money. Who does that? In which country they've done that? Now the times are tough. This never happens. Okay, there has been some idealist businessman, maybe they've done good things like that. But this is not how corporation works. And they are corporations, they might be one individual on top. It's much more individual centric. But this is going to happen. Already the ruble have fall.
But how much now? Yeah.
It's 1/4 of what it used to be last time I checked or something. So, what do you think that's going to, for a country where is an exporter of raw material and importer of finished goods, what do you think that's going to happen to normal people?
Yeah.
You think things are going to get cheap? Well, I mean, this is ridiculous. The idea that, don't give them visa. Don't give them visa. But when you sanction their wealth, and by the way, most of their money is not in London or it's in Panama or Cyprus or some weird island you've never heard of, some, for example, piece of ice that just separated from the North Pole, and they just, it's a banking office there, put a banking office. You're not going to get their money. You're not going to find their money.
I mean, of course, they have houses and a few things, but I mean,
but that's
how much that ends up. Yeah, exactly. What percentage of their wealth is that?
Their football clubs, their toys, their toys, the toys they play with.
Man, but I mean, just through this football club, billions were imported into the US from Russia, just from Abramovich, the Chelsea owner, wanting to, I don't know why he bought Chelsea. I mean, I guess it's a way to bring money into UK. Yeah. Bringing money into the UK. So the UK government and stuff is also taking a little bit of a hit, I'm guessing, or other governments, from not dealing with these rich kind of people.
Yeah, but it's interesting that only Russian rich people. Nobody wants to deal with, let's say, I'm sure there's loads of Iranian rich people in London. Nobody's talking about them.
And good thing, two wrongs don't make a right. But
no, but if you do all sort of thing, it would make it more...
I mean, I think we've reached a point with this where bringing up the fact of the hypocrisy or double standard is just repeating ourselves over and over and over again, because I guess at some point you have to move on, because this doesn't seem to be an issue in mainstream media. The fact that
at this point they would, if they are not hypocrites at this point, they would be inconsistent. So it's okay, at least you gotta give them consistently hypocritical.
Yeah, consistently. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the case. But anything else from this interview? with Bree was significantly better than her second interview from this week. Although I feel like she had some fun with that girl
the first
in her
one was
second
more
interview.
fun.
Yeah.
The first one, this one was more like a homework. So, okay, learn about sanctions and Bitcoin.
All right, Sam, what else is there concerning Russia and Ukraine?
So yeah, Katie Alper had Lee Camp on, and the Vanguard guys had Jesse Ventura on, and this is part of like the cancellation thingy that, you know, RT basically got, they had to basically go off, I assume, for legal issues and all that. So now, like, when you read the tweet by Lee Camp, suddenly, Jesus.
I mean, he
Christ,
lost his whole professional life.
Yeah, they deleted all his history. It was like, it reminded me of the Black Mirror episodes where they get to like anyway, right, they get to delete you. But so yeah, it was quite interesting. The Katie Alper, Lee Camp one, I think the segments are on. It was quite interesting and somewhat funny. And Jesse Venture went on the Vanguard boys, and that was so good. That was so fun. And he revealed something about the Vanguard boys that just made my heart. I had the same exact reaction as Jesse Ventura at some point where he was like, "So guys, I want to know, how old are you? When were you born? What do you know about now?" He was doing a test to see how like good they are in terms of like as a torchbearer for the left. I was doing a litmus test right there. So what do you guys know about the Vietnam? What do you know about the 2001 9/11? And then he was like, what year were you born? And then the Zach guy was like 1998. And man, Jesse Ventura, and I feel like everybody else in the world just went, ugh.
No, man, but kudos to them. God. I mean, it kind of made me be more impressed with them, because that means they're 22 or 23.
No, 24.
I mean,
98.
Right, yeah, 22, 23. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, 23,
23, 4. Yeah. Impressive. I mean, impressive, you know, with their takes and stuff. And I mean, I've told you this, I found them that, you know, like everybody else, they just got much better over the past 2 years or however long they're doing this in their presentation, arguments, and everything. But yeah.
But yeah, man,
I was shocked, man. I thought, like, you know, I mean, especially Zach.
93. 93. That was my ballpark.
Yeah, I thought exactly.
Yeah, and man, it was, but Jesse's reaction and then my reaction, I said, like everybody just, what have I done with my life?
Yeah.
That was great. Great interview.
Anything else from that? I really don't know Jesse Ventura too well.
Oh, he's pretty cool. He was governor of Minnesota.
Oh, really?
He was an independent governor.
Oh, he was always a politician?
No, he was originally he was a wrestler. He was a kayfabe American wrestler. And I knew him from Predator and The Running Man. He was
he's an actor.
For a while.
Oh, okay, so the fact that
he's like the reverse Arnold Schwarzenegger, because they were both in Predator together and they're both bodybuilders. Well, he was a wrestler, Arnold was a bodybuilder. Arnold went the Republican route, and then Jesse Ventura went the independent super left wing, questions about 9/11, social justice, gay marriage, you know, all that route.
Did Arnold go Republican though?
Awesome. Yeah, he was the Republican governor.
Yeah, you're right. But nowadays, what would you consider him? He's a centrist.
He's Mitt Romney Republican.
A bit more even to like I feel like he's a bit more lefty than the Democrats. But I mean, Romney's like the Democrats.
These
I
days,
don't know what difference that makes.
Yeah. No. Yeah, these days maybe. He was a bit, because he was in California, he had to do the environmental stuff and shit.
I just had a brilliant idea for Romney. He should definitely change camps. And I'm pretty sure they would put him up as a nominee. The DNC would like that.
Yeah, but I think he would. Yeah, but he wouldn't win any states.
Would he not though? Because he has the Trump beef.
Yeah, but no, I don't think Democrats. I mean, Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden. At least Joe Biden, you know, had a sort of a street cred of being from the, you know, Delaware, and sort of like talk like a real human being. I mean, I don't know. I think
and like, you know, he ran for president, so people know.
Mitt Romney is like
quite a bit about him.
Mitt Romney is like Pete Buttigieg. He's like 10 years too late. You know, Clinton era, he would have succeeded, I think. But Pete Buttigieg like would have succeeded in Obama years. But it's these days, it's just this shtick is known now. So
yeah, at least for now. Oh, geez,
I think.
Buttigieg, don't look forward to.
But I forgot. I was talking of Mitt Romney. He's having the time of his life.
Yes.
Yeah, because everybody keeps playing his bit with the debate from Obama. Have you seen that? Every time he does an interview,
No, not at all.
Because there is a famous part from Obama debate with him that Obama says, "Well, Governor, you said that our greatest threat is Russia. 1980s cold and they want their foreign policy back." So,
that was really good.
but and then
Obama's joke was also funny.
I thought you were talking about my impression. But anyway.
No, I said also. No, both. Your impression was good, but Obama's joke was pretty funny too.
All right. It's okay.
I guess it didn't age that well, but yeah.
No, it didn't age that well. And now every time they do an interview, and then let's play this video. And then they play the video and come back to Romney with he's trying to hide his smile, like didn't I tell? And I'm sure he's just having celebrations. I'm sure he might be even having a glass of Coke at night, to celebrate this guy. He's
true. He doesn't drink, right?
No, he's Mormon. He does not Coke, not coffee.
Wow.
I think only water and milk, maybe.
I see.
I don't know. But yeah, he's just having a time of his life, I feel. Obama just gave him that.
He's been having, though, I guess, so after Trump, now he got this one. But yeah.
Yeah,
that
this
definitely
one,
didn't age
this one
well.
is like a whole different level. It's just specifically Russia, was mentioned.
Man, I still remember his bullshit Republic, because back then I was just going into politics, so I was really following the whole going in the primaries and all this. And at the end, at the Republican convention, he thought this line was so good, and I guess maybe in the Republican world it's good. He made fun of Obama's climate change. He's like, Obama's promising you to move the sun and the moon. I promise to help you and your family. And that was it, that was it. And it was the shittiest, stupidest thing ever. But at the same time, in these Republican conservative worlds, I can see how that landed. But I was like, Jesus, so cringe. So
it's
cringe.
just nonsense. I'm
here to help you and your family. Saying that to a bunch of millionaires at the Republican convention. Help me and my family.
But I was thinking though, the other day if he became the president instead of Obama, I don't know, we might have been better off. He might have had an easier time passing, because his version of Obamacare in his state, I think, had the public option. He might have been able to get, if it wasn't so polarized and stuff. I think that's, by the way, why people vote Republicans. It's not that they think they agree with them more. It's just they get shit done. Republicans are just even bad shit. But things move fucking forward. With Democrats, it's just this nothingness of wishy-washy nothing.
The Democrats you can so tell that the Democrats plans and everything are so over, because there's no point in even talking about Christian cinema or AOC anymore, or it's just that story is over. Let's see what happens in 3 to 4 years.
It's always, they're like Jello. It's I don't know.
It's just over now. Biden's we tried. Go watch the old footage. Explains why.
That's
nothing
true.
else to say. All right, Sam, let's move on to a few quick hitters, and folks, please like and subscribe. And let's keep on with the theme of censorship. So the Hill are back up, and maybe I should offer a correction for me spreading misinformation last week during our podcast, because I had seen the tweet by Ryan Grimm, and then I went on their Hill channel and I was like, oh no, the Hill is still here. But I didn't make the connection that, they've banned them from uploading new videos for a week. That was also quite a surprising and shocking one in a way. Although I'm telling you, these YouTube bots seem to be very stupid bots, I swear. I don't know why. They still, only that Trump thing, they're very sensitive over, catching things.
They've designed to catch.
But what's one reason I say that they're also stupid? Last week, our entire podcast didn't get demonetized, but then I took a part of it and uploaded it. and that part says no ad suitability. So they could have changed the algorithms in one, there had been a 24-hour gap. Or like I've said before, I think even these bots give up on our podcast halfway through. They're like, just upload this guy. Here you go. Thumbs up. Here's an extra $1 for your effort.
You make fun of me for talking too much and stuff. All I'm doing is just helping us with the algorithm. This time we are going 9 hours. Fuck it. I'm talking.
I wish
let me get this Espinoza.
I wish there was like a chart. You see like 100 bots start off like going over our stuff, like 10 minutes in, it's like down to 20. An hour is like down to one bot trying to wait. Fuck it, I'm out.
I don't want to live anymore. If this is humanity, I don't want to do.
But I guess their bots are still very extremely sensitive, and they really have their ears open when it comes to the Trump speech. And then, sorry, one last thing before I forget is that apparently, if you have over 1 million subscribers, then YouTube gives you direct access to like someone that you can call and discuss stuff. And yeah, even despite that, and the rising being on the hill, it still took them a week to get back up on YouTube. So I don't know.
Please get us to 1 million. Because right now I don't think YouTube will even answer like emails or
no.
No, they're not gonna.
The only department that you can really call and pick up for anyone is if you want to advertise. That one they have a nice number. Yeah, that one you go. Yes, hello.
Hello. It's the CEO of YouTube.
How much? Put you down $5 ad money. Make it 10. Okay, come on.
But it was really unfair that they got one of or two of this strike was them, because the Hill is this weird. We've discussed this before. They have this weird strategy of going after C-SPAN's like audience by doing this live broadcasts.
Yeah. And it doesn't like, seem successful to me. Because they barely get any views.
Yeah, nobody watches this, but it's like, somebody like just shuffling papers in the Congress. It's weird. And then somebody's just going to the bathroom. It's like reality shows, it's like Big Brother.
Yeah. I don't know why they do that, because they upload like 20 Rising clips per day. So I think like content-wise, that channel's covered.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got once in a while in the middle of somebody shuffling papers and an old man, and then somebody wakes up and goes, those Mexicans, I never like some senator from 1950s just comes back to life and then says something, and then YouTube is gonna strike you. I mean, I feel like the senator or I think it was Trump, they should get a strike. Like it's not fair. So like I love that program though. It's just like it's genuinely the most similar thing I've seen to Big Brother. It's like these cameras just showing a bunch of old senile. What's going on? Mexicans are not good.
And Kim Iverson seems to have moved to Washington now. So before she was in LA or in California, but now it looks like,
man, the Hill money must be good money. Get to need to.
Hey, they've become a decent show. They tried like 20 people, but they finally found a combination of 3 people that are relatively interesting to put together.
No, I think it's the best sort of news show right now that I watch, including mainstream, like news-wise. Getting like it's the best sort of edition of news, like that I've got. But I felt like during early in the days of them getting banned, because I didn't know about the ban, I felt like my grandpa and stuff when radio stopped working back in the days, or television, and they would, where is my news? With the radio, why don't you work? I felt a bit like that. I wasn't getting my dose of news I wasn't feeling healthy.
Yeah, and like Ryan Grimm said that, if you went on Facebook or on their website, they had their content there. But man, YouTube, you have to give it to the platform. It's such a practical platform to just watch everything and everyone, because it does 2 jobs in one. Like I told you before, I tried running this website, this news website, but you can't just run the news website, because how do people get there? they need to have all these social media accounts and all this and set up, or Google, work on Google. But YouTube, it's kind of 2-in-1. Of course, the algorithm has all these issues, but they do provide the service of you put your content, and it's also a social media platform here. So you don't necessarily need to go create a Facebook, Instagram account. There is a way for you to just live on this platform.
No, but
just
I
by
don't
itself.
I mean, I don't get the social media. There is no social media aspect to it.
Well, there is. I mean, the way that they recommend stuff. I mean, it is a social media platform in a way, but I'm saying like you can just be on YouTube.
Okay, the way they recommend. But no, that's the thing. I think the thing about YouTube and why I can't. I mean, I've been trying to go on calling to listen more to Matt Taibbi, but I can't and stuff because YouTube has it's the best variety of everything. You know, I can watch the geography funny guy, and then 10 minutes later I can watch Glenn Greenwald.
That's true.
And then 10 minutes later I can watch an old Seinfeld bit or something. You know what I mean? The rest of them, I mean, they're so specialized and stuff. Like I want to be like for 5 hours in the mood for Matt Taibbi. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I mean, I think they have like at least 2 or 3 or 4 really strong, you know, advantages. YouTube.
Their UI and UX is pretty good. Although
exactly.
they've been getting worse a bit, I think.
Yeah, but like also their video player is still the one of the more practical ones, if you ask.
The best.
Me.
Yeah, I agree. And the whole now you can go on their thumbnails and you get to see the video a bit on. So it's the best in terms of. I mean, it's not surprising they have the most money.
Yeah.
So,
But even for content creators, like, you know, we can just be like, you know, if we're running a website right now, we couldn't just have the website. We would have to go other places in order to get traffic. But I mean, of course it helps if you have a lively Instagram and Twitter channel when it comes to YouTube, but you can literally do it without it as well.
Yeah, but that's not because of social media aspect. That's because they have such a big base. So many people, even people
but
who
I mean,
don't
they
have
recommend
like
your content.
They watch. Yeah, and I wouldn't call that social media though. I mean, like TV.
My only point is that it kind of offers that service within the platform itself of like showing your content to other places. Whereas if you have a website, like, you know, the website can't show it to anybody. You have to go and develop yourself either on Google or on Instagram or on Facebook, and then people can come.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like Substacks for like, you know.
Yeah,
Substack
maybe Substacks like that too. Sort of and you know, actually, Ryan Grimm mentioned something interesting, but he didn't develop it further. But that makes sense. And he's like, it's interesting to see that how the platform affects the kind of content you put out. And I thought that's interesting because the different audiences and the platforms are built differently. So I can imagine completely different videos could be popular on Facebook compared to YouTube.
Yeah, especially in Facebook, as we discussed, you know, racist geriatric slant. So, you know, different audiences. Yeah, TikTok is populated by 5-year-olds who I don't know have somehow found access to computers.
Man, TikTok, that's still the only social media platform that like I still don't have on my phone. I don't go.
Yeah, me neither. Although I think I would like it far better than fucking Instagram, because all these funny people that I watch, they do mostly for TikTok.
But I've heard of like people complaining about their algorithm as well, in the sense that apparently TikTok really insists on showing you stuff that are like made in your city and country.
Yeah, like, same with Instagram though.
Instagram a bit less. Shit. No, Instagram, I feel like it goes more
That's
on
one
just
of the reasons why
whatever topic you're into. Sorry?
No, I think it's, as somebody who lives in Iran but is constantly into American politics or movies, as you know, and shit, it's Instagram mostly, man. It keeps just showing me bullshit around. Well, yeah, it's
because I'm in Switzerland and I always see just American stuff, you know, that I follow. And
it doesn't show you Swiss stuff necessarily?
No, very little on my Instagram, actually. Yeah,
that's interesting. All right, maybe it's according to friends as well, because or something like that, to take that into.
Perhaps. Anything else here?
No, it's just hell of a week for us. Like, if you're a censor, well done. You had a great week. Like,
do you have your Biden fossil article ready so we can move on to that? Okay, please go ahead.
Let's do. Yours. We have a couple of fun. Oh, should we? Let's do before
whichever
that.
One you want.
The Jeremy Corbyn one.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah,
it's not even a Jeremy Corbyn article. It was. I just want to highlight this kind of like the New York Times article by Emma Camp, whatever her name was. Like, are you just publishing anything?
Why? What does this article say?
Listen, I accidentally took my kids to a Jeremy Corbyn rally. How could I explain stop the war to them?
What? Hold on. I don't even. I accidentally took my kids. Okay, how could I?
Like, because she means she's part of a stop the war, but now this is Jeremy Corbyn. Anyway, but it doesn't even make sense. The article is super short. I'm gonna read.
But read a little bit though.
Zoe Williams. They say you only discover how well you understand something when you try to tell someone else. When the someone else is skating preteen, you discover it even faster. Which I kind of agree, because I'm trying to understand this article by telling you about it. So
no, I definitely agree with the first point. Maybe not the preteen one, but yeah.
You don't think it's harder when it's a skating preteen? Like I'm not a big fan of kids.
People explain weird stuff to their kids.
No, but kids ask stupid questions too. Like, you have to give it to adults sometimes. Kids are anyway. So that's a divergent. That's another discussion. On Sunday, I had heard that there would be a flash mob orchestra in Trafalgar Square playing I can't remember that name. Mussorgsky Great Gate of Kiev in solidarity with people of Ukraine. I went along with two 12-year-olds and made all the promises you have to make to get two preteens to go anywhere with you. It won't take long, and it's near an Itsu. What's a Itsu?
I just checked it out. It's a British chain of East Asian inspired fast food shops and restaurants.
Oh, okay. It's like Wakik. Anyway, by the way, I like how she puts it. I went along with two 12-year-olds, as if like they're, just some random, like they're not related.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I'm guessing one of them's her kid and the other one.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
No, she said took my kids. So maybe she has twins.
Does it? She says.
And the headline. I took my kids.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's related to them. Nobody needs to worry.
Oh, damn, this article is short. I mean, not that a long article means anything. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love short articles, but 4 paragraphs. Let's see.
No, that's what I mean. It's literally like an email I wrote to you. like, Kamil, I went out today. I had coffee. It wasn't good. Bye. Instead, we found a modest stop the war rally with not a viola in sight, just Jeremy Corbyn speaking from a makeshift stage. He just said war is bad because it kills people. My kids summarized. Then, witheringly, and this is, that's the kid speaking, and this is your icon. I explained that you don't go to a demo for an original hypothesis. This was my entire childhood, standing in a crowd, listening to why war is bad, and so is poll tax. That was quite funny. Also, icon is way too strong a word for my feelings about Corbyn, although I am glad to see him back in his happy place, saying determined on complicated things to a small crowd. Which is, by the way, that's the maximum as a leftist you can reach for these liberals. Like, we agree with you, but we don't need to make a fuss about it. Just say quiet place. Don't cost too much. There were some homemade signs, but 2 banners centrally produced. One controversial, no to nuclear one. The other one was problematic. Drawing an elliptical but discernible.
No, discernible, I think.
Discernible. I'm sorry. Dyslexia. Equivalence between Putin's aggression and NATO's expansion by saying no to both. This was quite complicated. They say you only discover how well you understand something when you try to explain it to someone else. When the someone else is a scathing preteen, you discover it faster. I can lay out the criticism of a stop the war easily enough. That its anti-Americanism is so vehement, it amounts to almost anything else from Assad to Putin. What I couldn't do was explain what that meant for pacifism generally. Had the entire case against war had been hollowed out? Is everyone who has ever been on a stop the war rally discredited? I come back to this question. Realistically, given the strength of popular opposition to the Iraq war, isn't that almost all of us? Would I get kicked out of the Labour Party for being in a Trafalgar Square at all? Well, no, obviously. I was looking for Mussorgsky on my way to Itsu.
Okay,
So
so I
like
mean,
no,
I
no,
was
first
reading very
just
carefully this paragraph as you were saying it, and you're gonna have to I don't. You're gonna have to elaborate and explain
well,
because I
she's
don't
saying
get what.
basically,
Yeah,
she's saying the leftists that are opposing the anti-Russian sentiments and the sanctions, and that's the thing. She's a straw manning. I mean, Trap House guys talked about this in their episode. Who are like they keep talking about this? Who's saying Putin did a great job? I hope he goes to this war harsher than before.
yeah.
I hope more bombs are.
I mean,
Who's
he can go
saying that?
fuck himself if somebody needs to hear
Yeah,
this. I mean,
exactly.
the worst
I
thing
mean,
could
some
happen to
gangster
him.
from
I
Russia.
couldn't care less. I mean, but that
No,
doesn't mean like
exactly.
everything else makes sense. But yeah,
Exactly. It's like politics is not about like my personal judgment
yeah,
on Mr. Putin or and it's, by the way, like, no, again, nobody's saying that, but she's basically saying that these Stop the War rallies are being hollowed out and have lost our credibility because now it's just anti-Americanism as let's just read this again.
yeah.
That is, it's easy. Like, she's almost so dismissive. I don't need to say this. Like, I can lay out the criticism of Stop the War easily enough, that its anti-Americanism is so vehement. It amounts to pro almost anything else, from Assad to Putin.
So I get what so she's saying that the anti-war people are so anti-American that therefore they support Assad and Putin. Is that what she's saying?
She's saying, yeah, they would support Assad and Putin just to oppose America.
Good thing she didn't write more, because
but then she goes on. This is the question I want to respond. Is everyone who has ever been on a Stop the War rally discredited? No, you are a discredit to a Stop the rally, because you are the idiot who just focuses on the issues that they want to, well, some people want you to focus on. Nobody else is discredited. Nobody else is supporting Putin. It's just, I mean, yeah. It's like saying, if I don't know, if Iranians started sanctioning Americans after the Iraq War, you know, I would definitely, I mean, I don't know if they did, they might have done that, actually. It's not out of the realm of possibility. That would have been wrong too. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I hate her dismissive tone and her you
man, it's extremely confusing. Like, I'm trying to
yeah,
say that I understand what she's saying and get what you're saying.
She's trying
I'm
to
kind of faking it, to be honest.
Yeah, she's throwing shades at Jeremy Corbyn and anti-war movement, especially at the moment, but she's trying to do it in such a subtle, sort of a passive aggressive way that you almost miss it. Yeah, but it was so short, I thought, you know, we have fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, why do I need to know the whole fucking, if this is about you know, it's about Stop the War and anti-Americanism, why do you start with the whole, what is this need of these opinion writers to start with a personal fucking
no, I'm telling you, they're told to do
memory.
This, I swear.
I was going out with my grandfather to the mountain, and then the mountain started to talk to us.
It's really engraved in like New York Times, Guardian style of article. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you send an article that doesn't start with a quote unquote human story, the editor sends it right back to you. Because I also don't get, like, what did the kid say? What did the kid say? And this is your icon. So the kid wasn't impressed that Jeremy Corbyn is anti-war?
Well, I guess the kid was saying, the kid reminds me of myself when I was that age. Like, the kid was saying, okay, war is bad, how do you stop it? Or like, give me some plan. The kid comes across as a really gentleman, looking for answers, looking for a plan of action. What is this? What am I doing? I am 12, I should be playing with my PlayStation. Why am I here? You brought me to a Stop the War rally. Anyway,
yeah.
But like Christian Parenti, though, like, you know, we discussed it earlier, like his article, man, I was just thinking, like, why do I like writers like him or Perry Anderson? Like, they don't have this fucking extra fat of like going through their life story before telling you the most simple thing. It's just all fucking a story.
I mean, if it's relevant and it's good, he adds to it. Sure, do it, but don't try to pigeonhole a human story into
every time.
I mean, maybe this article needed it, because if not, it would have just been that last weird paragraph.
Yeah, one paragraph. Stop the war, they suck. now.
This was an interesting article, I guess you can say it. It like kind of gave me a headache, that last paragraph, but yeah.
It's hard to keep up with the linguistic juggernaut that she's.
Yeah.
But the last story of the week, and this is completely moving away from Russia cancellation and all that. This is okay. Okay, listen to this. Joe Biden is a fossil. Is it a fossil or fossil?
No, fossil. Or, I mean, at least in the English that I know. But yeah, maybe somewhere. In British English, is it fossil maybe?
I think
don't
fossil.
Think so. Yeah, fossil, so everywhere.
Anyway, Joe Biden is a fossil, 328 million year old vampire squid named after president. Scientists. Listen to this, okay? Scientists named incredibly rare fossil in recognition of Biden's plan to address climate change and to fund scientific research. I'm sorry, but fuck off. This was not done in honor of his support of climate change. This was done because he looks like a fossil and he's probably a vampire.
I mean, his support for climate change is so mild that you could have, named this, I don't know, Xi Jinping or like any world leader except perhaps Trump. Fine, if you really want. I mean, they're making it sound like, Biden is what's his name? Like, not that Al Gore was amazing, but like, he was someone who was so into climate change, like Al Gore or something. I mean, the only thing about Biden is that he came after Trump. So that's like the contrast where you get this.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though. I think what happened was they named it after Biden, and then they were like, "Oh, you named him after Biden in his honor," and they were like,
"Yeah,
yeah, in his honor, sure,
definitely."
It's not because he looks like a 900-year-old vampire. It has nothing to do with that.
And especially because I don't know, I'm generalizing, but I feel like scientists in these kind of areas, if they are political, they're not going to be like, like you think that Biden is the greatest person or ever. So I completely agree. I mean, I don't know.
But there is precedent though. There is precedent. Listen to this, which I think confirms my theory that scientists have been doing this for years and just fooling these idiot politicians into thinking this is in their honor. Listen to this. 9 species were named after Barack Obama, including a spider, which is just so a spider is just perfect, like a spirit animal for Obama. Just this web of lies and just, I betrayed you. Spider, a hair worm, Jesus Christ, and several fish.
Hold on, stop there. The several fish is the funniest thing.
Several fish, not just one, just because of how slippery Obama was.
Okay.
A moth, and a blind worm-like amphibian who doesn't get his own name. He's a blind worm-like amphibian that buries its head in the sand, were named after Donald Trump. So Donald Trump got a moth and a blind worm-like amphibian. Donald Trump animals don't even get their own name. That's nice. I mean, I guess they were named after Donald Trump. So, but a moth is, oh my God, a moth again. It's like a perfect spirit animal for Trump.
Yeah, I think you're
attracted to light. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. They're not honoring them.
The several fish, though.
Not just one.
And I'm just in my head for some reason. I'm imagining like the most like normal fish, just like your general straight up like white fish or whatever they call it, just like your average Joe fish.
I love it. If you look into this article and it turns out it was just some scientists had a couple of goldfishes and it was like, you're Barack Obama, you're Barack Obama, you're Barack Obama.
Yeah, because the way the article, he or she generalized it so much, just several fish. Feels like the most
Yeah. But I love how they spin it as, this is in their honor. Yeah, for sure. It has nothing to do with the fact that we all think basically politicians are some kind of insect or reptilian monster. It has nothing to do with that.
And and a while ago I remember saying, Biden, what did I say? I was like, Biden is really old, so it makes sense the way that he's acting. I found out he's not that old. And B, he's like aging at like a concerning face, you know.
Yeah, he's literally like a vampire under the sun. Every time you see him, he's like,
But hey, I still have the
skin.
image of his jog though. You know, when he won the presidency, he jogged very straight, and then he was like, okay, now fast walk, make my way there. He's still a little bit in shape for his age and stuff.
Yeah, I assume they like pump him like massive amounts of Adderall and adrenaline, and
they need to keep.
And
doing
I
it,
assume
but
there's a bunch of like small people on his back, sort of operating. I assume.
Man, do you think in 4 years or 3 years it's going to be Trump against someone, or will Trump be able to last until
I think
then?
it's gonna be Trump is gonna last. Biden, I'm not sure, but Trump, I think Trump is a like I don't like. I feel like
he doesn't drink.
like
I've told you, and that is genuinely
and
good for
smoke.
your health. And doesn't smoke.
That's I love it. That's genuinely. They're not. It's not about. They're not saying because they're not cool and stuff. It's
no, but man, drinking takes a toll on you. Like, you know, football players, like they go and they win tournaments and then they can't play for 2 weeks. And Liverpool team had 2 of its players go in the African Cup of Nations all the way until the end of the final. And 2 days later, they're playing for Liverpool. And the coach said, well, these 2 guys don't drink. So after their game, after a day or so, they were good to go.
I see.
Yeah.
No, I know, man. But
other people will drink, other players will at least drink for like 1 day or 2 days. So that already postpones the whole thing by like
the way you said it was like, you know, it was like, you know, man, because everybody says, you know, you should reduce your drinking and stuff. No, it's not because, you know, they don't want you to be cool. It's true, man. It's true. Bad for you.
But
I know, but I mean, I always thought, of course, health is important, but you kind of want to live your life. Like I can't even, like sure.
I'm sure Trump lives his life in other ways, but I think he said his uncle was an alcoholic or someone, right? So like since a young age,
his brother dies in a drunk driving car accident. I think that's why one of the main, he's a teetotaler, but he doesn't smoke either, does he?
No, but that's not very surprising. I don't know, for an American not
for
to
him,
smoke like that.
He's a bit of a hygiene freak, from what I understand.
That I can see. But his other funny thing, the last funny thing I know, I mean, everybody knows that he drinks McDonald's. He eats McDonald's a lot. And people also know, I'm sure you've heard this too, right? Where he doesn't exercise because he thinks, you know, your body gets weaker and stuff, which he has a point. Like after exercising, like half an hour after, you are actually in a worse shape. It's like the day after or 2 when you've recovered, that because technically you've beaten up your body depending on how much you exercise. Yeah,
but no, his theory is better than that. I think from what I read, it was like there is a limited amount of life force or energy within you, and you don't want to use it up too quickly, like saving it up to gradually drag this miserable life as much as you can. But he's I mean, at his age he might have a point though. Like I think if you suddenly at this age start like jogging, you have a heart attack in 2 days.
No, for sure. But I mean, you know, since a young age, you know, I guess they could walk around.
He used to do some sports in university. I don't know if he was good.
I can see him like being into swimming or something, maybe like one sport like that you can. No, not swimming.
What's wrong? What do you mean? What's wrong with swimming?
I don't know. Nothing wrong with swimming.
Like
I'm just trying to imagine what you would
do.
No, hey, swimming is supposed to be a great sport. I'm not into it, but it is actually.
It is.
Sorry, man, it is.
It's the best sport out there. It's the onlyest.
It doesn't take a toll on your body, and you use all your muscles and everything.
Again, it's just this passive aggressive.
No.
If you're a kid, you can do it. No. Anybody can do it.
No, I'm saying, you know, like when people do physical therapy, they go and do it in water, like when they're really injured.
Your joints, I've been told, your joints stay safe in water.
And the resistance help, you know, of course, at working on your whole body, because a lot of sports, you know, it's just like either like your right arm or like your left ankle.
I know a lot of people who play tennis and their right arm is way more muscle than the left arm.
I mean, they're like a super one-sided, you know, sport. Wrestling, most complete. That's why one day I want to put my kids in wrestling. I mean, I don't care if they hate it, then they can stop. But
wrestling, wrestling is so big in Iran as well, but it's a bit of a it's hard for me to do it.
And it's not a sport everywhere in the world, even in the US and Russia, where it's like big and stuff. It's not really a sport that is commercially built in a way that when you're an adult you can go do it. For that you have to
Yeah,
go do like other sports. Even in America, there's like no, based on what I know, people correct me, there isn't like wrestling classes for adults. There are some in like an MMA school.
No.
But you know, like an adult can easily go to boxing or jiu-jitsu or even judo, but wrestling is just too much of a young man's sports, perhaps.
Yeah, I know. I just was in America. Do they do them in schools? We don't.
Oh, yeah, for
as
sure.
far as I know, in Iran they don't teach them in schools.
Really? Interesting. Yeah, no. In
Usually
the US,
you go join a gym. From what
okay.
I understand.
Yeah, no. In the US, it's all through school, and then they go all the way up.
Yeah. I don't know how is it in Russia.
Yeah,
but it's okay. It's Russia. We can shit. It's awful. It's disgusting.
The worst wrestler, the best wrestlers are the worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice, Sam. Anything else to mention?
No, I think we're done for this week.
Yeah. So
now,
folks, we have
so I think we only have 3 hours. So let me get this Espinoza book. Just wait.
Do you really have an Espinoza book? By the way, I couldn't find mine, so I don't have one.
I have some. Yeah, I don't know where they are. Oh, here. There must be one here because Nietzsche and stuff. Kierkegaard. Yeah, I don't think I have his ethics, but I have some like collection of articles about his writings or something. He has a there is a you might, I mean, I'm sure some of our viewers know Ervin Yalom is this psychiatrist who writes books about, he's written and when I don't know what I know the Persian name, so I don't know what's the original name. And when Nietzsche cried, or when Nietzsche wept or something, or the Schopenhauer's the treatment of Schopenhauer and Espinoza's problem. So I have that for sure, and that's supposed to be a sort of an overview of. I read it a long time ago. Supposed to be a long of Espinoza, like overview of his thought. Actually,
the great Espinoza. Yeah, I tried to look for my book from his class, but I think I threw it away at some point when I had read it. But yeah, and we have a great edition of midweek progressive tweets that we uploaded, so go check that out if you haven't. And of course, our Christian Parenti interviews out there is great, is a lot of fun, so make sure to go check that out as well. But yeah, anything else?
No. How are we gonna fill up the next 5 hours?
So folks, please go leave all your comments, questions, and criticisms. We love to see them, and we always get to them, of course. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.